Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Night Owl, a show that we do twice a week where we talk about all the latest in pop culture news, TV and movie reviews, gaming news, and just the general conversations of the day. For those who don't know me, I'm Price of Reason, and with me, as always, is my co host, Professor Artoo. How's it going, Professor?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Been a surprisingly busy day, given that there's not a whole lot going on, but seems like however much time I have, that time gets filled with something, right?
Definitely. I see we have Bigot on social media. How's it going, sir? So
Yep.
it's okay. He said he missed the Thursday show. Vex Electronica. For those who are not aware, Vex likes to sit in bed and while she's falling asleep, she likes to listen to me talk, which I, of course, take as a compliment.
She says she's awake for this stream, so I'm asking, why aren't you here?
Right. If you're awake,
Yeah,
you know
what you
what?
want?
I am going to send her an invite. I don't suppose she's actually going to show up. You know what? She's going to get an invite. Just looking for her. Okay. Found it. Now when I send it, she'll send me like a snoozing emoji or something.
Yeah, we got some others joining us right out of the gate. Kivo 1961 is here. FKHC 2005, Yidus, Tim Hayes, Caleb Levine, Jonathan Conroy, Samsung, DJ Play Nice, all showing up right at the start of the show. Great to see you.
Absolutely. Yeah, good to see everybody here. And we're going to talk about our stuff today. Did I just get a message from Vex Electronica? It's probably her sleeping. It's a weird baby looking at me. I don't know what that means, but I did send her an invite, so technically she is welcomed.
Weird baby. Weird
Weird
baby.
baby. I don't know what
Whatever
that
it is.
meme means, like a
Yeah,
baby
no, I'm
looking kind of naughty.
not sure.
I don't know what she means. She wrote, "Maybe I will join." Well, that would be great.
Maybe I will. Okay. Well, maybe this, maybe that, whatever. Uh-huh.
I would
Yeah.
like that. I always like hanging out with Vex Electronica. You
Do
never
or do not. There is no try.
you never know what she's gonna say. By the
Mm.
way, I was a bit Vex Electronica today, to be honest. When we were on that Midnight's Edge stream that I talked about Pedro Pascal's brother. I could tell that people were surprised that I said that, and everybody wanted to move along past what I said there.
Next.
Yeah, I thought it was rather clever, but nobody kind
Oh,
of
I laughed. I think I might have been muted though.
everybody muted.
Everybody's muted.
Everybody ran away, and we moved on very
Fled.
quickly. It's kind of I thought it was kind of clever. But anyhow, I did send Vex a link, and she is always welcome to join.
Yep.
So
She'll pop in whenever she feels like it. So yeah, honestly, man, there has not been a whole lot in the news, this past week. Obviously, we hit Memorial Day, and a lot of people just kind of went on vacation. Even the people making news went on vacation. So
well, there's one thing that was sort of in the headlines today, and I think that this has been going on now for the past few days. With here, let me share this thing. I guess there's been a lot of sort of, I don't want to call it trash talk. I don't even know what to call it between Trump and Putin. I guess
oh yeah.
so. I don't know if you can see this thing here. Oh, have to put it on presentation. What Vladimir Putin doesn't realize is that if it weren't for me, lots of really bad things would have already happened to Russia, and I mean really bad. He's playing with fire. And then I guess one of his people then said something like, there was some kind of response to this. One of his people wrote something. I'm trying to see. Do you know what I'm talking about? There was like a sort of a response. I don't it wasn't
Let's
from
see.
Putin, but it was somebody speaking on Putin's behalf.
Oh
Here,
yeah,
this is it.
yeah. Putin's response. Yeah.
Okay, regarding Trump's words about Putin playing with fire and really bad things happening to Russia, I only know of one really bad thing: World War III. I hope Trump understands this. That's
Hmm.
from the Medvedev. You know what I'm talking about.
Medvedev. Yes.
Medvedev.
Dmitry Medvedev.
Basically, like, isn't Medvedev the guy that, like, because sometimes Putin, he's like the president, but then he's the prime minister, and then he's the president. And I guess technically there's probably a law somewhere that says, like, oh, you can only be 4 years of this. So then he brings this other Medvedev guy, and he just like he puts them exactly where he needs to, where he's not sitting. Right?
Yes,
Am I right
he's
on this?
depending on which month, or which year, uh,
Right.
he is the president of Russia or the prime minister of Russia, and then there was the president of Russia again, and then
But
yeah,
nobody takes him seriously. Everybody knows that like Putin is the one in
yeah,
charge. Like, I mean,
absolutely.
I'm not
Putin
saying
is the unquestioned overlord of Russia. All everyone else that serves there underneath him is simply a puppet, right? They're
right, but you know what? It's probably decent to be Dmitry Medvedev because the thing is that, somebody needs to be that placeholder. You know what I mean? Somebody needs to like, be the stopgap or whatever you want. The thing that you plug into these places while Putin pretends to be the other role, then he's the guy. You know what I mean? He's the guy that like he's that dude. You know what I mean?
yeah.
He's like Putin's bro. He can just put him in any of these positions he just wakes up. He's like, "Today you're the president, Medvedev," and he's like, "Okay." Then he's like, "Today you're the prime minister." Okay. Now you're this. Okay.
Okay.
Just that. Okay.
Very,
Yes.
very well,
Yes.
sir. You will be president today.
But you know what? Probably like that's a good setup for him. You know what I mean? He gets paid. He just everywhere he goes, like people
Hey,
pretend that he's like what?
like a lieutenant in the mafia. You know, it's a good setup, right? Until you get whacked. You know, it's a good thing. It
Well,
works.
obviously for many years he's been, he understood exactly what his place is, and it seems to be working. Uh, there was something that started off before all of that. There was something else with him, with Trump and Putin. There was something else that like preceded all of this. Let me
Yeah,
see.
I mean, they've been going back and forth because obviously early on, Trump was saying, "Oh, hey, I'm going to be in office for 24 hours, and I'm going to have this war is going to be over with," right?
Here,
And
this is it.
yeah, no, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, he said, like you said, he said, "Oh, I'll be elected and like the war will be over in 24 hours. I have such a good relationship with Putin." That's what he said. Now he's saying, "I've always had a very good relationship with Vladimir Putin of Russia, but something has happened to him. He's gone absolutely crazy. He is needlessly killing a lot of people. And I'm not just talking about soldiers. Missiles and drones are being shot into cities in Ukraine and for no reason whatsoever. I've always said that he wants all of Ukraine, not just a piece of it. And maybe that's proving to be right, but if he does, it will lead to the downfall of Russia. Likewise, President Zelensky is doing his country no favors by talking the way he does. Everything out of his mouth causes problems. I don't like it and it better stop. This is a war that would have never started if I were president. This is Zelensky's, Putin's, and Biden's war, not Trump's. I am only helping to put out the big and ugly fires that have been started through gross incompetence and hatred. Uh, all I'll say is this: is that this is a sort of a strange twist because he seemingly made it seem like he would be able to sort of work something out with Vladimir Putin, that he had a good rapport with him. Uh, that was kind of the direction of what he was going for, but it doesn't seem to be working. And I dare say that this is probably making him look bad.
Oh yeah, yeah. It doesn't look good. I mean, it's going to be over in 24 hours. I know how to work with Putin. Whatever. Honestly, I think he probably has tried a lot more than our previous president.
Yes, that's
Um,
probably true.
honestly, the previous president when he was, not drooling in a bucket, he had other things that he was busy doing, but it wasn't about trying to end the war. That's for damn sure. They were happy to funnel billions, into Ukraine, with no, no end to the war in sight, whatever. And I understand some people's, their misgivings about this, given that yes, this war was started by Putin, it wasn't started by Zelensky. There were absolutely provocations on the other side, but it was Putin, and it was his sort of ridiculous uh, idea of trying to reassemble the Russia, the the USSR, right? Pulling in all of these different states and everything, making them puppet states or whatever. Yes, he was the one that moved in and started the whole military engagement. And so we want to, defend the country that is, had been attacked. And that makes sense on some levels. But then the absolute just ridiculous amount of money that we were throwing in there with no checks to make sure it was actually going where it should, nothing to ensure that what we were sending over there was actually being used for its intended purposes, whether it was military hardware or cash, right? It was basically a giant money laundering scheme, to be honest. From what a lot of people have told us about what was going on over there. So uh, yes, we want to help Ukraine defend itself, but on the other hand, it's an incredibly tiny country, and this war has been going on for a long time. There are, millions dead, hundreds of thousands dead at least, on either side, and you've had all sorts of strange things, happening between these two sides. They, oh, we take over this little section, and then we take over that section, and then now you have essentially you've got this entrenched thing at this point where Putin has put an enormous amount of blood and treasure into this particular fight, and he's not just going to walk away. It's going to, he has to save face somehow. And if you just say, okay, well, we're going to keep this region or whatever, Crimea, then the people back in Russia, the people underneath them are going to say, no, I'm sorry, that's not good enough. The oligarchs, no, that's not good enough. You spent too much money and you threw away too many lives, whatever, not good enough. And then on the other side, you've got uh, you've got Zelensky, who is essentially saying, "I will not stop this fight until every last inch of Ukrainian soil is back in our hands." When there's absolutely no way that's ever going to happen. So
Yeah. I
it's
mean,
it's this incredibly entrenched, ridiculous, just like two toddlers on a playground, just neither one willing to give even an inch. And so I think at this point, eh, what some people have suggested and what I think Trump has sort of come to in his realization is that you know what, this is their fight, and if they're just both going to insist on continuing to fight, then we just walk away and let them fight it out. See how
it's a
that works out for
possibility.
Zelensky, right?
It's a possibility. I mean, basically, if I had anything to say is, I understand he was running a campaign, and a lot of times you say stuff in the campaign, and sometimes it's an exaggeration, and sometimes you can't even really deliver on it. It is something that he kept saying that within 24 hours, like on day one, it'll end this war. He also, said that he was going to end the Middle East one, in 2 seconds too, and neither of those have ended. But it does look like he's at least making an effort to do something. It's not that I think that he's not trying to do something. Uh, Things sometimes, especially when it comes to military conflicts, are more complicated, and Putin has always been a stubborn guy. You know what I mean? It's been that way from day one. The only thing I'll say is, regardless if Putin is right or wrong, I just don't really understand how Ukraine is going to beat Russia. It's like
Exactly.
when there's like when you're like gambling at a casino, you're not gonna when there's a war and Russia is there and Putin is there, you kind of put the chips on him, even if you don't like him. You know what I mean? The idea of like toppling Russia, and most maybe like you said, U.S. and the world and everybody gave them, but mostly U.S. gave them a lot of money that who knows where it went and what they did, because they seem corrupt as well. But at the end of the day, they got a lot of money. Maybe they hurt some they managed to cause a dent in Russia by killing a lot of people or killing some soldiers, and their own soldiers died. But really, it's not. I personally don't think that Russia is now collapsing because of it, in spite of everything you've said, in spite of the sanctions, in spite of all this stuff. Also, sometimes I think with sanctions, there's stuff that people don't talk about. And this is, again, I'm not claiming to be an expert. I'm just my instinct here. It's like, oh, people won't buy stuff from Russia. You can't do this. You can't do that. There's sanctions. They're boycotted. But what do you think really happens at the end? There's always a workaround. There's always some country that buys it, that'll sell to another country, that'll sell another country. Somehow they'll still sell. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, it'll
Mhm.
seem like they're not selling, and they're still going to sell it.
Yep.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? That I
Yeah,
feel like
yeah.
there's always a workaround for this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the truth is, Putin's out of his damn mind. He's nuts. And
He's always been that
he's
way.
yeah, he has. He's always been a little crazy. I think he's gotten even crazier in recent years.
Some
And
people, speculation, but some people think that maybe he's sick. I don't
Mhm.
know if this is true. Either he's sick or getting older, or sick and getting older. In any case, when a guy is sort of the way he is, and he's just like, reaching that point of his that juncture in his life of like, fuck it, sorry, Sean, then he cares less and less. If he's the type of guy that maybe he is, he doesn't really care about anybody, if you think about it.
Mm-mm.
Which makes things rather dangerous if you really think about it.
Yeah.
I
What's he
see
got
this
to lose?
when a guy like that has nuclear weapons and things like that, and nothing to lose, and he doesn't care about anybody or anything. That's actually a concern more than a lot of the other stuff we're seeing in the world these days. Istophobos, this very well may be what the rest of the world needs to release the 300 billion in frozen Russian assets to Ukraine. If that happens, it will get crazy. Pakistan, or even may sell nukes to Ukraine. I don't know who the other
India,
person.
maybe India,
Oh, okay.
or even India may sell you nukes. Yeah, that's a crazy possibility. But
What's Istophobos saying? They need to give the 300 billion in frozen Russian assets to Ukraine.
all the frozen Russian assets being held around the world in different countries, just turn all those assets over to Ukraine. Here's the thing: they're going to burn through that 300 billion in 10 weeks.
He's gonna
Yeah.
throw the biggest party in his palace ever,
Yeah, yeah,
Zelensky.
that's because, the 200 billion of it's just gonna get distributed among the generals and him
Right,
and
exactly.
whatever.
Phantom Monk says an old KGB spy, and this is really the part. And I think that even though I seem like a dum dum, I actually have been telling you this from day one. I when I told you, when I said I never really commented when this war broke out. I never said, "Oh, I love Russia," or "I love the Ukraine," or whatever it is. And the reason I didn't say it is because from day one, and I've said on this stream, I've said it a number of times. When I saw that, I thought to myself, those guys that are fighting each other have way more in common with each other than with me. Meaning, if you put like me, Zelensky, and Putin in a room together, I can't speak their language. They can speak, even though I understand that not everybody speaks Russian, but I believe Zelensky does speak Russian.
Mhm,
Basically, their mentality is very similar. They speak the same language. They like to drink the same vodka. They like to, bang the same women. Sorry, Sean. And you know what I'm saying? Although maybe that I could see eye to eye. Or maybe
mhm,
that's one thing that I can find common ground with them. But you don't understand what I'm trying to say. They have the similar mentality. That's what I'm trying to say. They understand each other very well. That's why I showed you that video with the Zelensky. The second he became the president, he's making videos emulating Putin. Do you remember that I showed you that he's like walking around the palace
Oh,
doing
yeah,
like
yeah.
a video that's sort of copying what like basically Zelensky, and this is the part that nobody is talking about. Zelensky would love to be Putin. Putin is like the prototype that he's looking at. He's, I don't want to say his hero, but do you understand what I'm trying to say? When he gets up and
Mhm,
thinks, "What do I want to be?" He wants to be Putin. And the thing is that if he could be Putin, he would be. He just can't, because Putin is like, is more powerful than him, has been around the block more times, has more cards, and Russia, like, is much, much bigger and has like more wealth and resources and all that stuff. But if he could be, that's what he would want to be, Zelensky, and that's really the problem here, in my opinion.
Hmm.
And it's been that way from day one. This is how these type of conflicts escalate. Now, I'm not saying, I'm not giving like Putin any awards either for like his part in all of this, but it's complicated. And I also kind of agree with Trump that a lot of this happened because this conflict, when it was in its early stages, was severely mishandled by the world, including the U.S., including Biden and his people, and all that stuff. And it's not a war; it's a war that maybe could have been avoided, but wasn't.
Yeah,
And the final
absolutely.
thing I'll say, and I've said this before, a lot of people didn't understand is that when you had somebody like Biden in the White House and he was walking around mumbling and he was confused and like running into things and like slipping all the time and he doesn't know what's going on around him, which seemed really clear to the public, only the mainstream media tried to cover for him. When all of this was happening, the one thing that I know is people outside the US, especially these type of countries that have a more kind of aggressive old school approach, whether it's in the Middle East or things like Russia or things like that, even Ukraine, when they see a guy who's old and confused, that seems like an opportunity to them.
Yes.
I'm serious. This is what gives
Yes.
them like that boost that they need. They're like, look at it. It's like I've told you before. It's as if you're playing like soccer or European football, however you want to call it, and there's nobody. There's no goalkeeper in the goal. That's what it looks like to them. That's why they're all this weird crap happened. I think when Biden was around because they just figured this is our time. You know what I mean? They understand things like very simple strength and weakness. They understand what that means. And Biden, for them, in my humble opinion, represented that weakness mainly because he just seemed like he didn't know what was going on. And it turns out that he didn't know. And let's say some of these people even went to summits or met with him or anything, they must have known.
Oh yeah. No question.
So it is what it is. But what do you think is going to happen from here?
And man, it's really hard to tell. The you know, I think this conflict is going to continue for some time. Neither side really wants to give,
They love it. They love it.
and
He likes war and he likes taking people's money. The other guy. Sorry,
yeah.
go on.
So, I just I do wonder how much we're going to be able to pull back, just step away, from our side of things here in the U.S. It could, gosh, I mean, I wonder how long Ukraine is going to be able to do much without American money. I mean, yes, there is money coming in from other areas like the UK and the EU and stuff, but without US money, man, and all the support that we've been giving, I'm not sure how long that's gonna how long Ukraine is gonna be able to hold out. I mean, they've reached a point where they don't have any fighters left. They're literally pulling
People off the
kids
streets.
off. I mean, when I say kids, like the 16-year-old kids, are pulling them off the street and forcing them into the fight. And I mean that can't last for very long, you know. So yeah, I couldn't possibly tell you where it's going to go. I don't think it's going to be over anytime in the next few weeks, though. And yeah. Oh yeah, I was going to say we got some super chats.
Okay, so
Need
before
to
we
catch
start
up
the
on.
super chat, Bigot on socialist media says, let's have an election. I bet majority won't vote for Zelensky. You're probably right.
Yeah, he suspended all elections though,
Yeah,
so
he
no
doesn't.
worries there.
He's so democratic that he doesn't even want elections.
Well,
Uh,
he's everybody's Democratic as the Democratic Party, so it's
so first of all, you have Tim Hayes, who has been a member for 5 months, a member of this channel. That's awesome, Tim. I like Tim Hayes. I'll tell you something. Tim Hayes is one of those people that often is there to say a kind word. Uh, it seems I don't know if it seems like that to Tim Hayes, but it's really important to somebody like me because you know it's always nice that there's somebody you know throwing some positive vibes around. It's always good, more positive than me. And then you have the Dead Man for $2. Watch Joe Rogan Experience, AJ Gentile. I saw something like that. I don't even know much about. Do you know anything about that?
No, no, I have
I
not.
saw something. I saw like Gary was sharing it. I don't even know what it was. I was gonna check it out, but I will check it out. Then you have the Dead Man, $5. R2, you were in my dreams, no homo, but I think it was because I was listening to the Night Owl as I was going to bed. Well, you're in luck. You're in the same boat as Vex Electronica. The Dead Man also gave 99 cents poop sticker because it's always good to throw in a little poop here and there. And then Istophobos, member for 7 months, which is awesome. Thank you very much, Istophobos. So I appreciate you all. I appreciate you, the Dead Man, with the super chats, and love seeing the members. I'll always really appreciate the members here. By the way, for those who are on this, oh wow, the Dead Man, another one, off topic, but would or would not Captain Janeway? Uh, you know, she's not exactly my style. I don't know. I'm not saying that like there's nothing wrong with her, but it's not my it doesn't tickle my fancy personally. I can't speak for the professor though. That's really something.
Captain Janeway. Would or would not?
I don't. You don't have to answer, Professor. I know you're a married man. I don't
No,
want to
no.
put you.
Would not. No.
I'm. I feel like I'm
She's
not alone.
she's well, as written in the show, she is far too inconsistent in the way that she tends to make decisions and live her life. I do have a cardinal rule: never put it in crazy. And yeah, I think she's right on the edge there. Uh, yeah, an interesting character. I love that people were so excited that they got this female captain, and then they're like, "Oh, she's the best." So, you know, I will admit there's some good episodes. There's some interesting
Oh,
episodes with
yeah.
her, but for the most part, no, no thanks.
I pretty much agree with you. Actually, I think we're on the same boat. It's not my like I said, not my cup of tea. E.
Yeah.
Clay Thomason, Price of Reason Live. AJ Gentile is the guy who does the YouTube channel, The Y Files. Ah, okay. Anyhow, Tim Hayes was saying something that he actually has anxiety and things like that. I whatever it is that you do, I appreciate. You seem to be cool in my eyes, so don't really know beyond that. But I of course hope that you feel good and that everything is okay with you. I met Jane Away in a bar years ago in the East Village, and she was cool and looked pretty good. Oh no, I feel like this is my Leslie Headland story. Now I don't know if people are just throwing this around. I didn't meet her at a bar. I've never met her at a bar, and I don't know if Sean was kidding or not. But
the
all I now I don't know. I'll never know this.
Yeah, honestly, no, I would not mind meeting the actress that played Janeway, and now her name just completely escaped me. But no, I wouldn't mind meeting her. But no, the character of Janeway, I'm not particularly fond of.
Oh,
Uh,
I see what you're talking about.
yeah, Whalem 03, the Native American in space was hilarious. Yeah, oh yeah, the Native American in space played by a Mexican, and then advised by a guy who was a even at the time a known grifter who was a white guy pretending to be a Native American who made up all kinds of BS as the advisor to that show. So that's why all like the Native American stuff all seems ridiculous. It's because it is. It's completely made up.
Wait, in which show?
Voyager.
Voyager had a fake Native American?
So yeah, Chakotay.
Ah,
Chakotay was supposed to be a Native American from space Native
right.
American, Native Spacican, whatever. Except that the actor's Mexican, not Native American. Yes,
Ah,
and then they had a because they wanted to keep the show authentic. They had a technical advisor on the show, someone who was an advisor in Native American culture. And the guy that they had was a scam artist. He was a fake. He was a white man who pretended to be a Native American and he made all of this stuff up. It's ridiculous.
I see. Well, Sean Green says that it was really true that he actually saw her in a bar in the East Village in New York. That would sort of make sense. She does live in New York.
Yeah,
I
Kate Mulgrew. Yeah, it's the name.
Kate Mulgrew, yes. I will say something. I probably shouldn't say it, but how do I? This is the
Just
dumbest
say
thing.
it. Just say it.
It's the dumbest piece of trivia that nobody cares about. Nobody will ever care about. It doesn't mean anything, and it's just like there's nothing. This is about the most pathetic thing I've ever shared with anybody. But I once wrote music for a movie that Kate Mulgrew was supposed to appear in. Okay, and at the end, somebody actually used some music that I did in a movie, but Kate Mulgrew ended up backing out and actually not. She never appeared in the movie, and it was a very very low budget production. But she was initially supposed to be there.
So Price once wrote some music that didn't get used for a movie that Kate Mulgrew turned down.
Something like that. Initially, she didn't turn it down, but no, I'll tell you
Oh, I'm
know
messing with you, bud.
no, you're first of all, it's absolutely right, and I own it. I own this, okay? The other thing I'll say is that what happened is that the film, was supposed to shoot at a certain time frame, and because it didn't shoot, she had something else that she needed to do. So, basically and of course, I'm saying, like, this isn't, like, some big budget, big high priority. This was the type of movie that you're probably thankful that she even showed up for a few days to appear in a few scenes, you know what I mean? Uh it's a very very low level production. So at the end of the day, I assume that literally anything else that she had on her schedule, if they didn't stick to the original schedule of filming, literally anything else would have taken precedent over this. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Exactly, yeah.
Like, it's the type of production that when you say yes to, you add like a clause. I'm not kidding. And I've done this before. I've been involved in something like this before where you add like a clause that says if like if there's another production or if there's a production like this or if this movie or you're involved in a few other projects, you write them and you say if they need filming, I'm not appearing in this thing. That actually sometimes appears in a contract. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's pretty much the whole situation with Kate Mulgrew and but at the end, there is such a thing as like a very very low budget movie somewhere that you could listen to music that I made. That's a real thing.
Sounds awesome.
It's unfortunate though. I can't even find the thing on like streaming anywhere. I can't find it
Oh,
anywhere.
yeah, well, yeah, it's amazing to me, like, the stuff you used to be able to find on, like, VHS or DVD, like, streaming? Nah, nowhere to be found.
No, but the reason is that this was shown in some kind of festival setting. Okay,
Oh, sure, yeah.
so whoever showed it at the festival, you'd think that they'd make an effort to then put it on streaming and things like that. But until this day, haven't seen it, and that happens too sometimes. Sometimes, like it's some like random low budget thing that's shown as some remote festival that nobody And I don't want to say nobody cares about. That's not nice of me. Somebody cares, but you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Probably like 3 years from now, one day, like I'll be looking and it'll be like streaming, maybe on one of those Amazon things that you have to pay for it. Like you'll never go to Netflix and it'll be like recommended in your recommended in your top 10. Like I'm sure of it. By the way, this is just me meandering around, but I used to get a lot invited to a lot of these type of more indie movies in New York City. I've told you this before. Some of those movies were awful. Uh, some of those movies, I would watch them and then I'd say to myself, like, I can do better than this. These people should be ashamed of themselves because they had film. You know what I mean? There was a crew. There was some film. There were a few actors that showed up, and man, I mean it annoys me. Why would they get those resources even if it's just like a few $1,000,000 to make a movie? Still, why would they get it and not me? I could do better than them. I know that sounds bitter and like, but I feel like I'm rightfully bitter about it. You know what I mean? And you'd be surprised, especially with those lower level ones, that somebody like gave them like $3 million. Why would you give them $3 million? Like $3 million. If you give me $3 million to make a movie, you know what? It may not be the best movie ever made. I'm not saying that you'll watch it and think you're watching a movie that looks like it cost $500 million to make, but the writing and the idea and something there will be more than what those people did. The ones that I would go to. And you know what's funny? I've said this story before. I told you this. We were talking today about Bryan Cranston, who I've told you this before that I once went to a screening like this of a very small indie movie that he was in. I told you this, right?
I vaguely remember it. Yeah.
Okay. So Bryan Cranston was in a movie that did you ever see? You've never seen it because whoever saw this movie except for me. I'll do a reverse. I got a invitation to go to a very, very small event, okay? This was a very small event that didn't not even like a big theater. I'm talking about a really small gathering. And Bryan Cranston, it was a movie that he's the star of, okay? So I'm thinking to myself, this is so cool. The movie hasn't come out yet. It's something super kind of artsy. It's Bryan Cranston. He's going to be there. He's sitting and talking to people like with his panel, but it's a really kind of downsized event, okay?
Yeah.
So I go to the event and I'm super excited. Let me see if I can find this movie. Bryan Cranston. I have to show you what this movie is. Let's see. Okay, it's called Wakefield. I see that here it has 74% on Rotten Tomatoes. Who knows why? Rotten Tomatoes is not. I can't take that seriously. Even the 52% popcorn meter, I can't take seriously. Are you looking at this?
Yes.
So basically, here's what the story is about. And I kid you not, this is what the movie is about. Bryan Cranston, you start off the first few minutes. He's a successful executive that works in New York City, but he lives like in a suburb with his family. He's like seems like he's successful. He's with his family. He's wearing a suit. Everything is great. One day he gets up and he goes to his attic. Okay, there's like a part that there's like a garage and an attic. He goes to the attic. He sits there and he decides that he wants to sit there and never leave. Okay?
Yeah.
Do you see that
Sounds
picture of
like a
him?
really compelling story.
So do you see him sitting there and looking out the
Yes.
window? The whole movie, the whole fucking movie. Sorry, Sean. He's sitting like that and looking at the stupid window, and he's sitting there, and I'm thinking to myself, how is this a movie? It is awful. It is beyond awful. It doesn't deserve 74%, okay? It doesn't deserve like 20%. It doesn't, I don't know who gave it 52%, the people that saw this. This doesn't deserve anything. Hides out in his attic. Now the thing is, this is the funny. You want to hear what's funny? Unintentionally funny. His family is searching for him. They're desperately searching for them, and he's gone for like a year. Okay, they never bothered to look in the attic.
Nice.
They
No,
never bothered to look in the attic. They just figured, why would we look there? Let him just disappear for a year. We'll call the police. And nobody actually, the police didn't say, let's look in the attic. He's just sitting in the attic, and his family is going on for a whole year without him. And in the meantime, I'm trying to remember how he survives. Maybe he eats like cans of tuna or something. I don't even know, man. And there's like, and this is the weirdest part. A few local children discover that he's in the attic, so they come and talk to him. So it's Bryan Cranston eating like tuna or dog food or whatever he's eating in the attic, looking out the window. His family doesn't want to search the attic, even though he's missing for a year. And little kids are coming there when he looks like a bum and doesn't take a shower. Does this sound like a good movie to you, Professor?
this sounds awful. This
It is
sounds like
the
a
worst.
complete waste of time.
And then let's see, what does it say here in the synopsis? See, it says Howard Wakefield, a New York City lawyer, hides out in the attic of his home for weeks, coming out in the daytime when his family has gone to shower and eat. Oh, I guess that's how he did it. I didn't remember. Even that's dumb. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Even
so the
that is
family doesn't notice
never ever.
anything is ever disturbed, or that food is missing, or
It is dumb beyond anything you can imagine. His withdrawal leads him to examine his life, and he rationalizes that he has not abandoned his family because he is still in the house. When a former boyfriend re-enters his wife's life, he realizes that he may not be able to return to the life he has abandoned. The way they describe this makes it seem like a much more interesting movie than it is. This isn't a good description. This description is idiotic. But as much as it's idiotic, when you're sitting there for like an hour and 40 minutes, 2 hours, I don't know what it is, and he's just sitting in the attic and half the time not saying a word and looking out the window, it is torture to watch it. Like, you think you know what a bad movie is. So after this whole movie, after this whole thing, there was like a Q&A with Bryan Cranston, the director. Probably shouldn't be saying any of this, but it is a true story. So I sat there and they're talking about it, and this is a really small gathering. This isn't like a thing where you're in one of those big theaters with a big premiere. This is kind of a downsized event. You know what I mean? That's why, like, getting a ticket was getting a invite sort of was a big deal for me. So they're sitting around answering, and Bryan Cranston is saying like how he loves like the artistic elements of this movie and how like brilliant it is. And I'm thinking, what the fuck is this guy talking about? And then the director, I think the director was a lady. Let me see. I'm not trying to be mean or saying like good or bad. I think it was a lady, but I could be wrong. Let me see. Where do I find a director? Robin Swickard. Robin Swickard. I think it was a lady. Now, I'm not saying that ladies can't direct a movie. I'm just saying that I think this lady, this is her. I'm just saying that I think this lady may not be so great at directing a movie. Do you get what I'm saying, Professor? I feel like the professor has run away.
got muted there. Sorry.
It's
Uh,
okay. It's
yeah,
okay. I
no,
know I annoyed you. I annoyed you with this attic thing. So
no.
this is
Actually, I was blowing my nose.
that's totally
No,
fine. That's the
uh,
effect this lady has on people.
yeah, no. It does look like outside of this, she has made a couple of decent things.
She has.
Yeah, she's also that was the director for Curious Case of Benjamin Button, or no, writer, I guess, writer for
Writer.
yeah.
Director, I want to see. I
I'm
don't
looking
think
to
that
see
she's
if there's
directed a
anything
lot of
under
movies.
director. Yeah, only 3 things under there is director: Wakefield, Jane Austen Book Club, and The Red Coat.
I see.
Yeah.
Listen, it's fine. Maybe she's a good writer. I don't really know. All I know is that thing did not work for me. And then what happened was, and this is the part, the reason why I'm bringing all of this up to you, because we were talking earlier about him being what, Professor X, possibly.
That was the rumor that
That was the
potentially
rumor.
he could be the new Professor X.
So what happened after this whole event was that he was sitting in the panel and saying that this lady's a genius and this is all the most brilliant movie ever. And then there was a little bit of a cocktail party, okay? And I was invited to the cocktail party. Now, again, this is not a cocktail party with a million people in it. So I'm at the cocktail party, and Bryan Cranston is there, and he's standing next to me, and I couldn't help myself. Now, most of the people walked up to him and said, "Brian, you're brilliant. This is the best movie we've ever seen." And I'm not li- I'm not like that. You know what I mean? I couldn't say it.
Yeah.
So I I thought to myself, I just said something to him that I thought was on my mind even before this movie. You know what I mean? I looked at him and I talked to him for a few minutes, and I told him, "Listen, I've been thinking about it, and you know what I think?" And he's like, "What?" And I said, "I think you need to work with the Cohen brothers." He's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, the Cohen brothers, I really think they have a style, the way they write and the way they work with actors and character actors and things like that. I think that they really bring out like the best and give them really great roles. I think that like you should be probably working with the Cohen brothers." I was totally serious. 100% serious face on my like making a serious face, and I thought he was great in Breaking Bad. I'm trying to think if I said that to him or not, but I said that I thought that he should be working with the Cohen brothers, and he looked really annoyed. Okay? He said something like, "Well, I'll have to talk with my agent, I guess." But he didn't say it. He said it like when he gets annoyed at Jesse, like, when Jesse messes up with the meth and like he gets annoyed at him. That's what he was talking. And then like I was holding like a cocktail in my hand because it was a cocktail party. I was holding like a whiskey, and then he came and he did like a cheers. Like he came and like his glass was like sort of crashing into mine, and he's like, "Cheers." But it didn't seem like a friendly cheers. It was almost like a "fuck you." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was really annoyed. And what somebody told me is that I didn't do the courteous thing. The courteous thing was I was supposed to say, "Brian, that movie that you were sitting in the attic and looking at the ceiling for 2 hours is the most brilliant thing that I've ever seen. You are a genius. This is brilliant. How did you think of this?" That's what I should have said to him. And because I didn't say that, I got on his like bad side, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
See,
still think he's a good
God,
actor. I still think he's a good actor, but
see, I could never do the Hollywood thing because I could never just spend my day walking around just kissing people's asses all day long to stroke their egos. I couldn't do it. Uh, it's not who I am. I could not go around doing that all day long with my my nose in people's ass cracks, just telling them how great they smell. I couldn't do it.
but that's it. I don't know if I must have sometimes shared this. I may have shared it, but I didn't give you all the details. I think that I've never given you as much detail as I did here. So people that enjoy any kind of lore will enjoy this possibly. And I don't regret it, you know what I mean? Like, I don't regret it. I was at least, if nothing else, I was myself. That's all I can be. I can't,
There you go.
pretend something else. Plus, I gave him good advice. If I were him, I would call the Coen brothers. What's he doing in the attic?
Yeah. What was he doing? Just sitting in an attic?
He's sitting in the attic. He may as well give him a call, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how the egos work. I don't know what the agents do. Like, I know what agents do, but I'm saying I don't know all the little politics that go on. Maybe the reason I annoyed him is maybe he probably sat around and thinking to himself also, why don't the Cohen brothers call me?
Yeah, yeah. Why I wish they would call me. Wish I could be Coen
Or
Brothers.
he probably like that same week was sitting with his agent and he said, "Why don't the Cohen brothers call me? Why am I not in one of their movies?" The agent's like, "I'm working on it." And then I said it, and that was like the worst, like pressing the worst button.
Why isn't Wes Anderson calling me? I want to be in one of his quirky things.
He actually, I think that he called Wes Anderson did call him, and he's going to be in his next movie.
Is he?
Yeah, Wes Anderson is going to. That's it. He's in the next Wes Anderson movie. For real, I'm not even kidding. Listen,
The Phoenician scheme?
the Phoenician scheme, he has a role in it. I don't know how big it is, but he has a role in it. That would make sense that he would call him and he would put him in that movie. But you know what? For me, I don't have anything against Wes Anderson. It's fine. But for me, I'm more of a Coen Brothers guy. If you say now Coen Brothers are like a Wes Anderson movie, Coen Brothers, their movies like are good for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, Wes
Fargo.
Anderson very much has his little oeuvre, right? His like he makes it, they all kind of feel the same. They all have similar, quirky characters and stuff in them. Some of them are pretty good. Some of them are not so much, right? But you still get the absolutely glowing reviews of every Wes Anderson film that comes out. Oh, he's a genius. Oh, whatever. Yeah. Some of them are okay. Some of them are good. Some of them not so much. I don't know. I kind of do actually want to see this new one, the Phoenician Scheme with Benicio del Toro in the lead role.
I'll
I don't know.
probably watch it.
Something about it just makes me interested in this one, whereas a
It
lot of the more recent ones I haven't been. But
it's gonna be completely weirdo. That's what he does, the kind of weirdo artsy movie. And there'll probably be moments that I'll just chuckle, not even because it's supposed to be funny, but because it's like so over the top weird. I'll probably watch it. I do like Benicio del Toro, and honestly, I don't even dislike. I don't even dislike. Who was I gonna say? I don't dislike Wes Anderson or like and Bryan Cranston, all those people. It's all fine. I just thought that the Attic movie was bad. I said the truth. Marla Sharondoff, how's it going? She says she likes. It's not. Oh, she likes comedies and adventures. Good to know. Phantom Outsider says, "Why am I sitting in an attic not hearing from the Coen brothers?" That's what it looks like in this picture. Alyssa Marie, you're a disruptor, Price. Thank you, and it's nice to see you here. Stephen Mack says it was good advice. He'd be lucky to get a role with them now. You're probably right. Uh, I've never really treated a celebrity different, no matter what. Like,
yeah.
I've had situations, and like I've said before, it's usually not in the situation that like I'm like the at the top of the pyramid and they're all around me. It's more usually that I'm not at the top of the pyramid and maybe there's a reason why I'm there for work or something and there's other people around me, but I've never treated them and like anything aside from just them being people.
Yeah.
I'm just not like that. The only way that maybe you would get me to do that, and even that I didn't do. There were situations where even there were actresses or things like that. Maybe maybe under special circumstances, if it's an actress that is extremely attractive, uh, maybe I would be a little nicer. That's the best I can do. Uh,
Price will soften up just a little bit for the ladies. But
it has to be really, really somebody that looks nice. Once I stood next to Jennifer Garner, and I thought that she looked better than I thought that she would.
yeah.
No, I'm serious because like when you see her on screen, she's cute or whatever it is. She's all right. But
Yeah.
actually, when I saw her in real life, and she was wearing this like very nice dress, and like she was tall and looked, she had much more of a presence in real life than actually she does when you see her on screen. I was more impressed with her in person than I am on screen.
Hmm.
Make of that what you will.
Very
Versus Scarlett Johansson,
yeah.
who I once saw her in reality, and she was very short, very very short.
Yeah.
And at the time, I think I told you it was before the Avengers stuff. It was a few years before the Avengers. She looked like she was not going to the gym a lot at that point, and she was short and didn't really stand out. I mean, I guess if you kind of if I would have gotten closer, obviously she's a pretty woman, but she didn't have this kind of like she's very small and petite. So in real life, that almost like you almost that goes over the radar. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I don't know if
Yeah.
you understand what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there.
No, yeah,
Obviously,
I know what you mean. Like, yeah, it's like, it's an attractive person, but like
she's pretty.
you're not like, "Oh,
L-
wow." Like,
l-
it's not like the whole room doesn't stop
I mean,
to stare, necessarily. Yeah.
once she started going to the gym every day and
Sure.
like she puts on the whole like she's wearing something that's very flattering, she walks into a room, and especially the camera really likes her. The camera really likes her. But I will say that in reality, at least at the time that I saw her, I've told you this before, she was filming for a movie called The Nanny Diaries, And in that movie, they weren't really playing into her good looks. So they had clothes that was a bit baggy on her. I don't even know if maybe they told her to gain a few pounds for it. She wasn't, I think, supposed to look spectacular in that movie. So I was sort of at some kind of distance, but she sort of walked in the proximity of me. And honestly, if there wasn't everybody kind of standing around there and like saying, "Wow, look, it's Scarlett Johansson." If it wasn't a situation like that, I may not have even noticed.
Mhm.
But it was a very unique set of circumstances. It's not that I'm saying that she's not attractive. I'm just saying that with my luck, on the day that I saw her, she was filming a movie where like they weren't really playing into her looks, if you understand what I mean.
Mhm.
Kind of like that new Jurassic Park movie where they wanted to look like a dude or something. Ben Affleck messed up when he left Jennifer Garner. I think that's a fair assessment. She seems pretty decent. She again, I can't really say anything. All I can do is just, she was standing really right next to me and she looked very impressive. Her vibe to me seemed positive, Jennifer Garner. Don't know her. Maybe you spend like 30 minutes with her and like you lose your mind. Maybe she's super annoying. She didn't seem that way. She seemed like I thought she was pleasant. When it comes to Ben Affleck, I want to say that I once also met like Jennifer Lopez. Met, it's like maybe I'm trying to think, maybe there was a handshake, hello, hello, and goodbye. Like it wasn't anything, I've had a lot of these type of things. It's not like I also don't want to create a false you know impression here that all these like celebrities see me and like it's me and them and they're like buddy buddy and like everybody loves me. That's really not the case. There's just been situations that I've been involved in things and again, not from a position that everybody's like, who's that dashing young gentleman? Like nobody cares about me. Like I'm probably like the most irrelevant person in the room, but somehow even being that in some of these situations is funny. Maybe because I'm irrelevant because nobody cares. It adds to uh the whole funny part of this thing. So in any case, what the reason I said all of this is that Jennifer Lopez in person looked very impressive also. Like, uh, you sometimes see somebody, like, on film or things like that, and you think, "Oh, you'll see them in person, and they're not gonna, be as, like, flashy or whatever." She looks, like, very well put together. It looks like she takes her appearance and her whole, like, brand or whatever it is very, very seriously. Now, I know she's probably a difficult person. I've heard this from a lot of other people, even, like, in the industry. I've heard things that, not always the most flattering things, but she seems like a pretty serious businesswoman, and at least she, if nothing else, when I saw her, she seemed very professional, and she was very well put together.
Yeah.
Uh, Puffy sure liked her. Phantom Monk says. I don't know what words now will get me.
Yeah, you never know.
He did like her. I wonder if that's going to backfire on her. Ben Affleck, narcissist Gardner, empath match made in hell. I don't know. Selma Hayek is really good looking in person, but she is so tiny, like a child. It's off putting. She is? She sure looks good. But I think that that's another kind of Scarlett Johansson. I've never met her in person, but that's kind of another Scarlett Johansson situation. Like what they did to Sydney Sweeney. I don't know what she's talking about. Huh. I don't know how we got to all of this thing. What
Yeah,
we
I
were
don't know.
talking about.
We also have some super chats, so we can do those. If
Also, Putin. Putin is serious.
yes. Oh, Putin.
Putin is
Putin.
super
Putin.
serious. Putin. Let's see. Off topic. Okay, we already said that. What's the problem? That's the other one. Do you have the thing, the file?
What's the problem?
There you
I can't believe you have it.
go.
R2, what do you think of the episode of Voyager Infinite Regress where Seven pretends to be the Doctor?
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, Voyager, it might be my least favorite of all of the Star Trek series. But I think you got the episode title wrong. I think Infinite Regress is the one where Seven is reliving lives of a whole bunch of people that she helped assimilate. I think that's that episode. The one with the doctor is called, let's see, because that was late in the show. I had stopped watching it at that point. I didn't see it. Body and Soul is the name of that episode. So yeah, Infinite Regress uh does have Seven, or the actress, playing a whole bunch of different characters, and so that was interesting. But the Body and Soul where she's playing Bob Picardo, uh, I thought it was rather funny, her trying to impersonate Bob Picardo. I thought the story was terrible. It was extremely stupid. And the idea, we've been told this whole time that, it takes very special technical hardware or whatever to be able to store his hologram because it's got so much memory and it's so special and everything. And then just like, oh, well, we can just upload, him into her implants, whatever. Story wise, it didn't make any sense. I thought the story itself was rather stupid. I did enjoy Jerry Ryan doing her best Bob Picardo impersonation. So,
Well, Jerry Ryan is great. That is one thing that I do like about Voyager, but it's not enough for me to really love the show. It's a show that I haven't seen all the episodes of Voyager. I don't know. I one day I plan to do it, but somehow the show never really captured my attention in the same way some of these other shows did.
well, it just kind of betrayed its premise from the start, that Voyager was going to be trapped super far away from everything, right away from the Federation or whatever, and it's going to have to find its way back, without any help from the Federation. And then it was a story of the week, episodic television, just like TNG. Every week, we blew out 30 decks and modified half the ship with Borg tech and whatever. Next week, all back to normal. It's fine. No explanation, nothing. It was stupid. It should have been so incredibly serialized, to where everything that happened affected what was going on in the next episode. And it didn't work. And then the writing was miserable. That's when they started taking in a whole bunch of script submissions that came from outside. They started letting people just mail scripts in and use them. So it was, a bunch of fan fiction stuff that made it in to the show. And yeah. Oh, we have a visitor, Price.
We do?
We have a Vex Electronica
Wow. I can't believe it.
trying to hop in.
Well, now I have to find her image, I think. And that won't be easy, but let me see what I can do.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, hi.
Hello.
I've just been sitting there quietly for a couple minutes now.
I'm trying to find your picture now.
You're good. How are you both?
I'm good.
Doing well. How have you been, Vex?
My sleep schedule is totally out of whack, which is why I am awake right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
My sleep schedule is an absolute mess right now as well. So
is there a full moon coming soon? Is that why we're going
no, well,
crazy?
I know why mine's a mess, but yeah.
Let's see, the next June 11th. All right, we're 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
People used to think that I'm a vampire.
I could believe it.
And I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I had at some point, I'm kind of embarrassed now, but in my youth I had contact lenses that were red.
Mm-hmm.
And like when I'd go out to a party or something, then I'd wear the red contact lenses.
I don't think that's embarrassing at all. I do have questions though. Like what inspired this?
I'm trying to think what inspired it. I felt like I felt like I really was kind of like I identified as sort of like a wolf.
You identified as a wolf?
Hey, I was in my teens. That's what seemed cool to me. I felt like I was like badass. Like it's badass if I go to a party and I have red contact lenses. W-
In your defense, Price, I'm in my 30s now, and I too still think about getting a pair of red contact lenses and just wearing those around. But that's because I am
It's
actually insane.
well, who said I wasn't? You seem to think that I'm not, but you don't know everything about me.
This is true. This is true. If only I had gone to that one Comic-Con in New York, we could have bonded and gotten to know each other so much better.
I was dressed as Darkman. We would have had the time of our lives, Vex.
Time of our lives. Yep.
You didn't show up. I called you from there and asked you why you weren't there, and you did nothing. Later, you went to the Vegas thing. You went to like see Nerdrotic in Vegas. See me.
I actually didn't meet any of the well, okay, I didn't intentionally go and meet any of the Geeks and Gamers crew. People just dragged me to the Geeks and Gamers crew because some of them already know who I am. And so I met them that way. But I just kind of went to go hang out with the peeps. That's all. And it was awkward as fuck. I don't recommend going to one of those.
Why not?
Did you not hear this story?
No, now
Oh.
I'm so curious.
Okay, so I don't know if maybe there was like it was the full moon or some shit like that, but basically it was just really awkward. So it was like it took place at like this bar that is shaped like a narrow rectangle. So there's like a little tiny like sidewalk patio area, like really small. And then you go in and the bar is maybe like 12 feet across and then like 50 feet long, very narrow. um and at the very back, like people were just lined up like through the length of this to go meet like nerd erotics and all of them at the very back. And
Okay.
then if you went out a door near that back section, it would open up into this really massive back area, where they had like another like some tables and whatnot. But I just stayed out there because like you couldn't move on the inside. B, the drinks were a little cheaper, oddly enough, outside. And C, it smelled like just terrible fucking BO in there. Because it was all just a bunch of sweaty fucking nerds.
Okay.
So, yeah, it just kind of was like, I guess because we're so used to interacting behind a microphone or behind a camera or whatever, it kind of distorts social interactions a little bit. So, like, I just found like everyone, or maybe it's just the fact that these were just a bunch of fucking nerds, but like everyone was just super awkward and didn't really know how to interact with each other. It felt like, I don't know. And then like, so it started at 7 and was supposed to go till 11, but everyone was gone. Oh no, sorry, it started at 8 and it was supposed to go to 11, but everyone was like filing out by 9 o'clock, which was also weird. I don't know. The energy just felt kind of off, but I met everyone I wanted to meet there, and I also called Dermy Wormy a sex offender to his face.
Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers?
No, you don't know who Dermy Wormy is?
No, I don't think I do.
Oh, okay. Well, he's pretty prolific for reasons. But you know that Sonichu medallion? You know the Sonichu medallion at all, the lore behind that?
I don't think so. But
Oh,
I've set you up here with us. Now we can see you. And I'm not trying to sniff down your neck. It's just that like I have to fit us both into the frame. I tried to be
it's
respectful.
that's fine.
It's
That's
fine.
fine.
I'm not sniffing. I'm not like doing a Biden or anything.
I wasn't even thinking about I wasn't even looking at the screen this whole time. And now that you've told me it, I'm just kind of jealous that there's no sandwich on my plate.
I've got the sandwich, and I am sniffing it.
Okay. I mean that's appropriate though, to be fair. Anyways, the Sonichu medallion is just like it's basically a bad luck thing, essentially. But he had made one of himself with his face on it, and someone earlier in the night had showed me one of this. I'm just like, that looks like a fucking PDF file on there. And then I ended up meeting Dermy later that night, and he showed it to me. I'm just like, oh, I saw one of these earlier, and I said that it looked like there was like a PDF file, like there was a sex offender on it. And his face just completely dropped.
Don't you wish you would have shown up for Comic-Con to hang out with me?
You know what? You know what's funny about that is you actually did message me the day of that con. You're like, where are you? It's like, didn't you come to? She's like, I live in fucking Canada, bro. I'm not hopping over the border for New York Comic Con.
You should have made an effort.
The day of.
Like, it's the minimum you could do.
The day of, I should have made an effort. Yes.
Well, the truth is that I felt it was an experience that it was very strange, because I felt like I would have had so much fun hanging out with other people at this Comic-Con, because there were so many stupid things happening at it, and I don't think that. I think that if you guys would have been with me, you would have appreciated it. But most of the kind of people that were there actually didn't appreciate it. They some of them were probably decent people, but there were a lot of kind of, I don't want to say anything bad, but there were a lot of weirdos there.
Weebs, nerds, basement dwellers.
Well, the truth is, we're weird too, but I mean, the thing is that they were weird, but not cool. I feel like we're weird and cool. They're weird and annoying. Or a lot of them were, okay?
You think really highly of yourself, Price.
What, that I said that we're weird but cool? I mean, I'd like to think that, no?
Sure. Anyway, sorry. I just kind of came in here. You guys were talking about a film.
No, it's fine. We were just talking about. We don't even remember what we were talking about.
Let's
says,
we'll move on. What do you think of Harry Potter? You're a Harry Potter fan.
I don't know how PC this is to say on YouTube, but I'm gonna have a Vex moment. Harry Potter is fucking gay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. How about you?
That's fine. That's fine. I'm actually, I've never been a huge fan, so it's not really the biggest deal for me personally. But some people really love this. You know what I mean? I don't want to take that away from people. I know people that I really respect that love this thing, and I don't want to ever sort of rip on people or dismiss something that they like. I've never really connected with the whole Harry Potter thing. I haven't even seen all the movies or anything like that. I didn't read all the books or all the. It's not really my scene. But I do respect that people wanted to be close to the source material, that they were hoping that the series would be that. And it doesn't seem like that's what's going to happen. The dead man, by the way, he says, Vex, your laughter sounds like Mahler.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I'm not sure. I don't know. He's a dude. And then
I know who he is. I've interacted with him like once, but I don't. Is that a good? I don't know. Okay.
Murrockstra says, sorry, Sean.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Sean. Shit. Oh, sorry, Sean.
Sorry, Sean.
A dozen times over.
So these are some super chats we got. And now let's look at this thing here. HBO's Harry Potter series cast Harry, Ron, and...
You could read it with a little more enthusiasm. God damn.
Again, it's not... It's in the middle of the night. It's not really my cup of tea.
Yeah, it's called The Night Owl. You're supposed to...
Put some like grown ladies that look nice on the screen. Maybe I'll wake up. I don't know. This is like some twerps in a forest.
You made this whole inspiring thing about how I'm not gonna take the stuff from the nerds away. Let them be perpetual children, and it's okay for them to be dorks. And it's like, oh, Harry Potter. Like what?
Listen, there's only so much I can do. It's not. There's a limit to how enthusiastic I can present myself here. They chose a ginger guy and a few other kids. And
yeah, there's only so much excitement you can gin up for an HBO Harry Potter series when they've already completely screwed it up by race swapping one of the most central characters the entire story. So just it's hard to actually get excited about this at all, even if you were a Harry Potter fan. I've enjoyed the films. I have read a couple of the books with my kids. It's not
Mhm.
my favorite property in the entire world. I can see where it has some charm, but for me, this TV series is already DOA. I don't even care.
Yeah, it's interesting because everyone was, again, because the IP is so big, so there's a massive fandom. It's very much like Star Wars in that respect. So everyone still was holding out hopes and like, oh, J.K. Rowling is involved in the casting process, and it's just like everyone forgot that J.K. Rowling is extremely progressive. She just
Extremely.
doesn't agree with the transgender stuff, really. So everyone completely forgot that, and then Black Snape got cast, and people were like, oh. And it's just like we're talking about current day HBO, current day Warner Brothers. You thought that this had a chance even with J.K. Rowling involved? It's like we'll see what happens, but it's I will give them that. Like Ron looks adorable. That is a really cute ginger right there.
Hmm.
Harry, I want to see him with the glasses because right now he looks
Yeah.
like he's been broomed by a PDF file and he's on the hunt for new victims.
Oh, geez.
Hermione, again, this was an interesting thing because like there's a couple different chats I'm in and there's Harry Potter fans in all of them. They all had an issue with them casting a black Snape, but they seemed to have no issue with a race swapped Hermione. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Even some of the black content creators that I could tolerate, that I stand, it's the same thing. They're huge issue with a black Snape, no issue with a black Hermione. So I don't know if that's because she looks like she's, mixed. Maybe that throws it off a little bit. Maybe it's that she still meets the brown hair, brown eye standard. I don't know if that's it. Or maybe there's just going to be some alternate timeline worked in because Hermione's a mudblood, right? So maybe, Black Snape Moan got into Hermione's mama's panties and there's a whole half blood plot line they want to work out here.
Ooh.
All I can say is this: is that and I think I was saying this before, that in the past, there were, before this whole woke era, from time to time you'd have an actor that they cast one thing or another thing, and sometimes maybe there would be what you'd call a bit of a swap, or maybe not 100% accurate. I mean, Jessica Alba is a Latina woman, but she played Sue Storm, and most people didn't care.
There was
Uh,
what's her face in Aliens as well. Oh god, the woman Vasquez.
Yeah,
Vasquez is a
Vasquez.
Jewish woman, but she plays a Mexican woman.
Very odd. I'm still baffled by that one. I don't really get it, but yeah. Uh, Listen, at the end of the day, I don't think that it's such a big deal if there's a cast member that's like, sort of whatever. I don't think it's the end of the world. But the problem in our day and age is that they make these swaps and they're so obsessed with them, and then they start changing around the lore and the story to fit these swaps that they did, and then usually comes some kind of weird agenda, this kind of like, a white man bad agenda or whatever it is. All of this usually goes hand in hand, which is why whenever you already see anything, you're already kind of anticipating the thing to be bad. And I think that in the past, when they did a swap or whatever it is, it was more innocent and people didn't care as much because it wasn't really tied to this kind of lecturing. But
I Sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
sorry, go on.
No, finish your thought. Finish your thought.
But I'm saying this little girl that they brought, this girl, I don't anticipate that this is going to be a big thing. I mean, this is one of those things where it could have been, if the whole series was really true to the source material and you had this little girl here, probably wouldn't have been an issue. That's just my opinion.
I'm just kind of the because a lot of the people that complain, and I'm not grouping you in here, right? I'm just going generally by observation across social media and across YouTube as well, and even some of these alternative news sources. There's a lot of complaining about race swapped or gender swapped characters, but there seems to be no consistent through line. So it's just from an outsider observing that doesn't agree with everything that is woke as well as not agreeing with everything that is anti woke. It's just kind of funny that the script can flip so quickly and so inconsistently between what is a good and bad race or gender swap. You know what I mean? But yeah, at the same time, it's like I do agree. Again, this is 2025 HBO and Warner Brothers. Like they're in a sync with money right now they haven't just killed their TV IPs and their movies, but they've gone all in and also basically dismantling all of the gaming studios that they have too, and all of the gaming IPs that were once very treasured by everyone. So I don't I think it's more reasonable to have your expectations very tempered for this more than anything, regardless of casting. Also, didn't Harry Potter just end like 5-10 years ago? The last movie, 2017.
I think so.
Yeah,
It wasn't a million years ago. Yeah.
it feels like this is it's. Oh, but there were all those there were those spin-off movies. What were they called?
Yeah.
Right.
It was
Fantastic Beasts. Fantastic Beasts. Yeah.
2011 was the last actual Harry Potter movie.
No, but when
Okay.
was the Fantastic Beasts one?
I don't care.
That's not an answer.
They were both utter
Fantastic.
garbage.
Okay, hold on. I'll double check.
They actually fired Johnny Depp and they kept
I
Ezra
remember.
Miller. And
Yeah.
they kept Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller was their golden boy, and Johnny Depp, they had to fire him because somebody just said something bogus about him.
So the last Fantastic Beast film was in 2022.
Yeah.
I don't know. This seems like a bit of Harry Potter is such a vast and untouched mine of content that it feels a little early to already be rebooting this, even in a television format. You know what I mean? And this kind of just feels like it's less of a we want to do something interesting or kind of do the IP right, and more of we need to make money right now, and Harry Potter is about the only thing that's making us money.
It is rather desperate.
And then they're going to ruin that, and that's not going to be making them any money anymore either. So,
Right. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just me as an outsider looking in.
Phobos wrote, and this is a Rumble rant. Thank you,
Hmm.
Phobos. It's a Rumble rant. I believe it's for
$1,
$1, but trying to find it. I don't know why it disappeared. Anyhow, it's going to be interesting having a super white Draco Malfoy constantly calling the little brown girl a mudblood and the black dude a half-blood.
Oh shit, that's a good point.
There's going to be a whole racial angle to it now because there were racist overtones in what they were talking about in the original, in the books and in the films, where they're you're not a pure you're not a pure wizard, whatever. Now they're going to be saying those same things to people who are mixed race or who are black, and you're going to have Harry Potter's father and his friends playing jokes and pranks on a black Snape, hanging him from a tree.
You know what? I'm on board with this race swapping now. Actually, everything you just said, Artoo, is wonderful. Hold on.
Oh God. It's gonna hit very different than it did in the original, with characters of different races.
Mudblood lives matter.
Oh God.
It's the Phobos has a comment for you, Vex. The issue is when a person's race is inherent to their character or geographic location, like Snape's pale, ugly ghost-like appearance is integral to his character, or if the girl is a Viking.
I am not in disagreement with that, Istaphobos, whatsoever. I actually support more getting authentic adaptations of characters. My point more is that the people that complain about this stuff on and on seem to have the inability to stay consistent with it. And even then, and I'm just saying this is a general observation. Of course, there are exceptions to every rule. I'm just saying they don't seem to apply the same logic to every single race or gender swap, and it's quite tiresome. I'm more inclined to just ignore them or not take them seriously whatsoever because of how inconsistent they are. That's my point.
Yeah.
We're watching ourselves, watching ourselves, watching ourselves. I don't know if you noticed, because I shared the screen.
I did notice.
So the reason I did all of that, because there's a super chat from Eclay Thomason, $5 on YouTube. People raised hell about the black guy in House of Dragons until the show aired, and then they came to like him. Maybe we should wait and see first. They chose a good actor on the House of Dragon. The first season was pretty good. It wasn't afterwards, but it was the first season was actually good. And if nothing else, they tried to sort of provide an explanation, explaining that he comes from a very different geographic location, and somehow you kind of said like, okay, but yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that you can never accept anything, but the problem is that a lot of times these swaps are not just done just
They're
for
disingenuous. I agree with
right.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some kind of hidden sinister thing to swapping them in a lot of cases. Like I'll give you an example, like the movie the Batman, or what was it with Robert Pattinson.
The Batman.
The
Yeah.
Batman.
So basically, the commissioner is a black guy. I
Mhm.
sound like Ryan Kinnell now, but I don't mean to. But the truth is that he didn't say something that's not accurate. The commissioner is a black guy. Catwoman, whatever it is, she's a black woman, sort of
Yep.
black or whatever. Yeah, I guess
A
black woman.
mudblood, one could say.
Oh,
Oh, I don't know about that. She's a she's a black woman,
Yeah.
and then you have the mayor, who was a black woman. Now these characters, you're supposed to look at them and think, oh, they're good people, they're whatever. And then
Mhm.
like anybody that's around there that's like not black, that's like white, that's usually bad. And the way see, Jeffrey Wright is a good actor, the guy that they chose to be Commissioner Gordon, but they didn't just choose him to be Commissioner Gordon without adding that other stuff. And in case you didn't understand that the white people are bad in this, there's a scene in this movie, I don't know if you've seen it, Vex,
I
where
have.
Catwoman says to Batman, "Oh, like if it weren't for all these like terrible
Rich
white
white
people,
men. Yep. All these rich white men
all
taking
these
yeah,
rich
I
white men
remember.
doing all this whatever," and it's like, man, I mean, that was an annoying sentence in the movie, and that kind of crossed the line between, hey, we just wanted to do some like, divert, like we just, this is our casting, so what if it's diverse, to, okay, we're actually here bashing people of a certain color.
No,
So
I'm not in disagreement with you. Like there are exceptions to every rule, but like you said, it's not because of talent that they're doing it these days. It's because there's a message they're trying to send, right? But
absolutely. Yep.
it
Absolutely.
I,
and I don't think we've seen outside of maybe like Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. I don't think we've really seen many exceptions to the rule. Like the only one I can think of is the chick that they cast as Yennefer in the Witcher series. I thought she's very beautiful. I think she did a good job with the character, but she was an obvious race swap because as the producers had said at the time, she was like she wasn't beautiful. Just crazy to me. And she also was very obviously not a white woman. That's the only other exception I can really think of. That show is fucking terrible though, so
it's terrible. She does look nice, that
Was it
actress.
that? Yeah.
I don't know how a producer was able to say we cast her because she wasn't beautiful. That's wild. That is wild to me.
Well, I have another good example for you.
Okay.
When I grew up, okay, I watched a show called The Equalizer. Have you ever seen do you know what the original Equalizer was?
No.
Okay, the original Equalizer, let me pull up a picture for you.
Mhm.
You know the one with Denzel Washington, that like there were movies later with Denzel
Of
Washington?
course. Yeah, I saw the first 2. I haven't seen the 3rd.
So let me show you what the original Equalizer looked like. Are you ready?
Okay.
This guy. This was the Equalizer.
Is this a British series?
He was a British actor. Very
Mhm.
nice that you figure that he's British. I don't know how. Maybe his bitter face. In any case, he is British. This actor. It's Edward Woodward, but he was living in New York, and he's a guy that's helping people that the law won't help them, and they're desperate or whatever it is. And he's the Equalizer.
Mhm.
Now, when they announced that they're going to remake the Equalizer, and it's going to be the guy that made the movie Training Day, and Denzel Washington is going to play the Equalizer, I actually thought to myself, oh, okay, let's see what they do with this.
Mhm.
Obviously, Denzel Washington is not going to be a guy that's British.
He could
Obviously
be.
they
He
made
just needs a little vocal training.
they weren't even trying. They're just they changed it that he's not British. He's American in this one.
Mhm.
He doesn't have any kind of demeanor like this guy.
Mhm.
It's almost like they went so far from what this show was But still, I'll tell you that I really like Denzel Washington in the role. I like those movies. I think that the third one is better than the second one. The first one is the best one. The second one is kind of okay. Third one is actually good.
Okay.
I think Denzel Washington is great in these movies. I also like the way they're made. I think that these are movies that I really enjoyed. And even though they did all of this swapping or whatever you want to call it, it didn't bother me because they were giving a different take on it and not one that came to insult me. They just said, hey, we have an idea what something we want to do with it. And you know what? I thought it was cool. I can like the original series with this guy, which I used to watch when I was a kid. Probably shouldn't have watched when I was a kid because kids probably shouldn't watch it. But back in the day, people didn't care what their kids watched. I don't know if people today care, but you know what I'm trying to say. Never mind, though. In any case,
Hold on. Were you aware that there was a female-led Equalizer show that came out in
Oh yes,
2021?
yes, with Queen Latifah, they see.
and it's been canceled now.
Well, they did get 5 seasons out of it, so
They
it's like
did,
they
yeah.
got the most they could. The thing is that after Denzel Washington, they got greedy. Whereas the version with like Denzel, which I thought was like cool, and I thought that he did something nice with the character, that they were well made. They took Queen Latifah and they're like, why don't we make a TV series on CBS and have Queen Latifah play the Equalizer? That to me was where I drew the line. That really bothered me because the problem is that like I don't hate Queen Latifah in general. It's not that like I'm like, oh, I hate Queen Latifah. I have nothing against her. She seems like a nice lady. However, I don't buy it that she's beating those people up. I just don't buy it. I think I saw like a few episodes or the first episode or something like that, just out of curiosity, and I'm like, man, I don't buy this. Like this is just bullshit.
I'm looking at this cast. I'm just like, those like a priest and a rabbi walk into a bar jokes. I'm just a fat black lesbian, an obvious Jew, a ethnically ambiguous Asian woman, and a former Sex in the City alum walk into a bar. What do you get?
Is that what the Equalizer looks like?
I'm just looking at this cast. So like, this is a terrible cast. Oh my god.
I don't even remember who the other actors are. I know that they had this actor that played in Sex in the City, and then it turned out
Chris
that he
Noth.
was
Yep.
Chris Noth. It turned out that he was very frisky with the ladies or something, and then he had to leave.
Of course he was.
Allegedly, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's something
Of
that
course, it was the only white guy in the main cast. Of course.
Yes,
they had to get rid of him.
This cast looks fucking terrible. Yeah, anyway, sorry. I didn't even know that they made this but yeah, I was just looking up the original one. Yeah, it was still set in America and everything. So yeah, I guess you can count that as a
I was
That's a
going to
Yeah.
say, how do you
solid
know
race
he's a
swap.
Jew? But it says Adam Goldberg.
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 I guess don't
Yeah.
have anything to say there. But
No.
yeah, I mean, I will say that it looks like a very diverse cast. They later brought, at least, they had some other actors that were like, white or something. So they tried to replace Chris Noth somehow. But none of this really matters. This show is just terrible. I watched it and I thought it was terrible. And the fact that it got 5 seasons and people were actually watching it, don't really understand it. But what do I know?
Interesting. I think it was more one of those situations of, oh, we've commissioned it for X amount of seasons, not so much people are watching it.
Istophobos says Battlestar Galactica actually race swapped a black guy and turned him into an Asian woman, a super hot Asian woman. I will say this, is that a lot of times people will be forgiving if it's a hot woman.
I have no problem with this.
Yeah, I have no problem with this either.
Like, if there's a situation where there was supposed to be a woman who's like lighter skin or dark, whatever it is, and they brought like very, very hot woman, you'll see a lot of guys like just shut up. Like, it's one of those things that silences people.
Yeah, there's the other race swap that I actually wouldn't have minded, but I'm glad that he stepped down because the movie turned out to be terrible anyways. They were going to cast Steven Yeun as what's-his-face in Thunderbolts.
Yes, as the Sentry. As
Yeah,
Bob.
I don't think that would have been a bad casting choice because I think Steven Yeun is a solid actor, but I'm glad that he dropped out because that movie was a piece of shit.
Yeah, it was garbage.
I do like Steven Yeun, and the truth is, one of the reasons that I stopped watching Walking Dead was what happened with Negan and his character.
Hmm.
I don't know why that was like my cue to exit. I'm like, okay, I'm done.
I think it's just they kind of lost the plot. I bought the first two compendiums of the comics, and they're pretty solid, but at some point you're just doing the same thing over and over again, and that's I think I checked out right as Negan was being introduced into the series. I think that was like season 5 or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
basically, he's introduced. He takes his bat and he kills a few people, and
Mhm.
then they had like a whole like months that you don't know who he killed, and then they come back and they show like whatever, and I just said like that's it, I'm done. I couldn't take it anymore. I think that the early seasons are interesting, but it's like you said, Vex. How many seasons can we see them walking around in the forest? Talking to themselves and just walking around with those zombies. It just gets old at some point. It
It
should have been
does.
a series of like 5 seasons where there's actually a development, meaning something happens, they find a cure. I don't really care. Just do anything.
Yeah,
And the final,
don't even bother with the spin-off shows that they added later.
no,
They had
no.
Yeah.
like 12 seasons, and then they've all these spin-off shows where somehow one of the characters gets taken to France, and then a couple others work their way up to New York City, and
That's wild.
it's
That's
ridiculous.
wild.
It's such a waste of
That
time.
was like a huge thing though, because I remember when the first season aired, because I watched it while it was premiering,
Yeah.
and they even had from the get go that post show that they would do for an hour with Chris what's his face. I don't
Yeah. Yeah.
remember what
Chris,
the
yeah,
but
Chris
yeah,
The Talking Dead. Yeah.
yeah, so
Talking
there
Dead,
was this
yeah.
whole, like, phenomenon about just, like, not just adapting this show, but having, like, a genuine, like, moment with it and sitting with each episode and discussing with it. I think that's kinda what I actually like that they did that because that was one of the things that really got me to start thinking a little bit more about, like, how you can analyze and interpret, media outside of just, like, IMDb boards, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Right? Like, it was
Sure.
kinda like the OG YouTube, like, review streams before there were review streams, but that kept going even with the spin-off series, as well for quite some time, but
For
that
a
was
little while it did, yeah.
yeah, like, that's something I would but we don't get TV that's, like, monumental like that anymore, so I get that we don't get it, but I liked having those. Those were like, I
Chris
would've liked
Hardwick.
yeah.
Chris Hardwick.
I would have liked to see that with like fucking like Mad Men having a talking men or mad talking or something like that after Mad Men episodes. That would have been great.
By the way, Keely Chow has been a member for a month. Thank you, Keely. And regarding Mad Men, I don't know if you know this. Mad Men, the first 5 seasons, I absolutely loved it. The
Mhm.
final 2 seasons fell off a cliff. I'm so annoyed until today what they did with those final seasons. It's unforgivable.
I am gonna have to agree with you. I did rewatch the series last year, and yeah, that ending with Don Draper, especially, just it really does fall off a cliff. But yeah, those first 5, particularly the first 4, oh, just chef's kiss. If you haven't watched Mad Men, go watch Mad Men. Even then, I would say like season 6 and 7, they're not as terrible as we've seen like other shows drop off. But considering the consistency it kept for so long, and again where they leave Don Draper, it just doesn't make sense. That
I'm
fucking who was his second wife? Not just
Megan.
Megan. It all started with fucking Megan.
The whole thing that he married her was funny. There were some funny things there. But
It
yeah,
started interesting, but then they made it like a real marriage, and that's where it started to really drop off.
right. What really started here was that this is just my opinion. First of all, if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, I
Mhm.
think that if you would have just taken season 5, shown the last episode, and said that's the end of the series, they would have been better off than anything that happened afterwards. And yeah, you're right. He married Megan. Instead of just making that quickly go and just have her, go away or something, they made it like he suddenly started becoming a loser. This is
Yeah.
the part. See, I know I'm going to sound like an asshole now, but I think part of what the charm of the show is that you're a guy. I don't know why women watch, and I can only say why men would watch it. It was the type of the show you could sit around drinking like a whiskey, maybe having like a cigar and a whiskey, sit there, and you see Don Draper doing whatever Don Draper does, and I don't know why. It's very relaxing seeing like Don Draper always like he's always on top of his game, always with the ladies. He's always a step ahead. And then suddenly, the last 2 seasons, they're like, well, now he's going to get his comeuppance. And I'm like, no, that's not how this show works. I don't need him to get his comeuppance. It's almost like they wanted to do like a woke Me Too thing before that thing was really, maybe it wasn't a thing yet, but I feel like that's where the show headed. They're like, how do we make it so Peggy looks more serious? How do we do it that this, like, how do we make it so he's like an idiot? You know what I mean? And I don't need him to be an idiot. It's not the reason I watch the show. I'll give you an example, Vex. I had a
Yeah.
guy who used to watch this show, and we both used to watch it.
Mhm.
And one day he called me and said, I'm not going to watch this show anymore. And I said, why? And it's somewhere in the 6th seasons, whatever it is. I said, why aren't you going to watch it? He said, he said, like, the whole reason I watched it was because of Don Draper, to have some woman just yell at him and make him look stupid. He said, and this is my friend said, I'm already married. Like, I can just talk to my wife. I don't need to watch this show. He actually said this to me, like, no joke. That's what he said. So that's the reason why the show fell off a cliff, and I'll never forgive them. They fucked that show. Sorry, Sean.
M03 women and men watched Draper for the same reason. Yeah, I don't. It's not to say Don Draper was like a good man by any means, but it was just the power and status that he commanded made us all want to be him, regardless of all the bad things he did. Right? He was like the cool, suave supervillain that you used to see in movies. But he got a lot more fleshed out in that you could be sympathetic because he was a cutthroat in a cutthroat world sort of deal. So Mad Men, yeah, I know it's a very male oriented show, but the female characters seem to have kind of dominated. Like they gave Betty this stupid story arc about her getting fat, and then I don't know, I think her husband's dick stopped working or some shit like that. And then they kept boosting up Peggy. I don't like how that whole pseudo relationship she had with what's his face, the guy that got her pregnant.
The partner, the guy with the silver hair.
Partner, yeah.
Roger.
I don't like. Yeah, no, not Roger. That was Christina Hedrick's character, and him did that. No, the Weasley little dude. I can't remember his name, but I don't know how they kept kind of weirdly dragging that out throughout the seasons. But yeah, you know what? I agree with you. It should have just ended at season 5 and keep it at that. We don't need to see Don Draper like have to strive for redemption or anything like that. It's
Right.
antithetical
Nobody
to everything
wanted
he
this.
is.
It's like this is probably like, again, something that I watched when I was very young. I'd watch Dallas. Dallas is one of the first shows I remember watching, even though I was very young, and probably that's not a show that I should have watched. But you know what? Even as a kid, I understood one thing. J.R. Ewing was the man. Okay, he was an evil villain. He did all this bad stuff, but that's what you enjoyed watching about the show. Now, they had never, even if, like, sometimes he'd get shot, maybe there's a setback, maybe there's something wrong, people are trying to screw him over, but they'll never just fully just embarrass him and drag him through the mud like that, the way they did with Don Draper. You know what I mean? Like, if you have that type of character that is the reason people watch it, you don't want to see them just getting embarrassed all the time and humiliated the way they did with Don Draper in the 6th and 7th season. You know what? Just to show you that I'm equal opportunity, it's like on Dynasty, again, a show that none of you have ever watched, but with Joan Collins, okay? She was the big bad lady or whatever. She was a bitch, and everybody loved her. Also on that show, you're not going to make her like a complete bozo for 2 seasons because nobody's going to watch the show. Sometimes you have a villain that people... I don't know if to call him a villain or a person like that is not necessarily a good person, but you're tuning in because the character is compelling. And when you take the character, change his DNA, and just make him a bum, people don't like that.
Fair. Sorry, I just have to go feed the cats because now they're awake because I'm awake. So
that's okay. You can go feed them.
Christina Hendricks, Wood. Yeah, one.
Christina Hendricks is a very pleasant lady. Somebody says, please link her channel. I guess they meant Vex. I can do that. Let me see. How do I do this, Professor? Only the best technology here at the Night Owl. Let me, Professor, tell a
I
joke.
I can handle it. Give me just a second.
Okay. I'm trying to find. Okay.
Oh, no, that's not it.
And now I think I
We're
can do
both
it.
in a race to. Oh, and
Here.
now my whoa. My browser is doing very weird things. So yeah, I'm
I just pasted it.
yeah.
Hopefully
There you
it'll
go.
show up soon.
There you go.
Did it show up?
Yeah, it showed up.
Great. So that's her channel. I don't even know if that's what they meant, but I think that's what they meant, right?
That's my guess. Yeah.
Christina, you know what was weird about Christina Hendricks is that at the height of that show, when she was especially pleasant, I looked and I think she was like married to some weirdo from Saturday Night Live,
She was.
Yep.
and it's
They got
like,
divorced a couple of years ago.
yeah, they got divorced, and I looked at and I don't understand how they became a couple. I'm not trying to be mean. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure the guy from Saturday Night Live maybe has like a great personality,
He
but
looks kind of like a peanut.
Yeah.
He was like a peanut that was married to this absolute vixen in her prime. It was weird.
Yeah.
it was
Yeah. It
very
was
strange.
They looked
very
strange
strange.
on the red carpet together, like really strange.
Very strange. But I will say this. I appreciate that man's hustle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Come on.
Whalen03 said that he just subbed to your channel, Vex. We shared your link,
Oh, thank you.
and he's
Oh, I
now
appreciate that.
now an official sub of Vex Electronica, which makes me very happy. Vex is awesome.
Thank you.
Vex, and I've said this before, I say this every time you're here. Vex was the first guest ever on the Night Owl.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
It was a very different show than it is now.
It wasn't a news of the week sort of deal, but
it was it was the type. It almost felt like a conversation that if it wasn't you or me in the conversation, I don't even know if anybody knew what we were talking about. And we were also in a certain state of mind, if you know what I mean. Not sure how that conversation came off to other people, but we certainly had a fun time. I remember us laughing a lot. So
we had a very good time.
we did.
Ruga says ScarJo is married to that hack Colin Joss. Yeah, ScarJo was also known as a notorious slut throughout the majority of her career. So Colin's just kind of picking at what's left of the hot dog chamber at this point.
I have don't know what to say about that, but I will say, and again, I don't know anything about this. I'm not a woman, but I will say that Colin Jost guy looks a little more like a regular person and less like a peanut, at least. Like that guy being with Christina Hendricks was a lot more. Colin Jost with ScarJo is weird, but that thing with that guy with Christina Hendricks and that guy, that was like bonkers bizarre, you know?
Yeah.
I think Pete Davidson's a fucking plant. I see sorry, Sean. I see Alyssa's comment there. I genuinely think Pete Davidson, for PR reasons, they keep pairing him up with these quote unquote hot women. And when I say that, I mean they look significantly better than him. They're not necessarily hot, but they're there so that women will start subverting their own expectations and attraction.
Or something. Yeah, I don't get it at all.
I don't get the Pete Davidson thing.
Yeah.
Pete Davidson, the fact that he exists kind of disappoints me because, like, you think to yourself, okay, if you're a good-looking guy, maybe if you're rich and good-looking or something, maybe a combination of one of those or two of those, like the ladies like that. You're a celebrity, you're good-looking, but then I see Pete Davidson, I'm like, why is he getting all these ladies? Like, I know that sounds strange for me to say. I'm not saying that he can't get a lady, but the fact that like
you got so many ladies,
and like something very strange about that whole situation.
Oh, so apparently Christina Hendricks got remarried last year.
Yeah, just this past year to a camera operator.
To who did she marry?
Let's see. I just had the guy's
George
name
Bianchini.
Bianchini.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He just looks like a normal dude. At least he's taller than her. So.
Yep. He's quite a bit older than her as well, but yes. It was Istafova said something saying she was much hotter when she was on Firefly. Well, she was also younger, yes,
Hold on,
but yeah, she did. She looked fantastic in Firefly, and you got to see quite a bit of her as
Firefly.
well.
Let's
So
see.
yeah.
I haven't watched Firefly still. I'm sorry.
Oh, you
I've never watched it
so and
either, to be
so.
honest.
Oh my god.
Yes, it's the
Jeez.
truth. I haven't watched it.
Oh
I
my
know.
god.
I regret it, but it's the truth. So this is what her husband looks like. It's better than the Peanut Man, but to be honest with you, this is also, even when you say like, "Oh, she's not in her prime now," you can say whatever you want. This she's still too good for this guy.
You know what's funny is if Big Bird were a person, it would be this dude.
Kind of like Where's Waldo, but without the sweater.
Right. But with a 10 head instead of a 4 head, It is a step up though. Either way you look at it, that is a
Better,
step up. Yeah.
yes, step up. It's better than the Peanut Man.
Mm-hmm.
We're such kind people over here at the Night Owl.
What have we got next on the docket, Price?
The good news about watching Firefly is you do get to see a lot of Morena Baccarin in her prime, and she
still looks pretty good. Morena
she
Baccarin.
does.
It's not like she
Yes,
looks bad now, but yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
Let me see for a second. What's next on our docket? There was something about Dragon Age writer blames the customers.
That was an interesting one.
Oh, as if that would surprise me.
Did you see that? I saw some article. I didn't
Yes,
even...
yeah, Dragon Age. The writer, who was it? David Geider was a former lead writer for several of the Dragon Age games, including Dragon Age Inquisition. And I guess did an interview with Games Radar. So in the piece, Geider criticized what he called
Do you want to bring up the article, Price?
Anti-fans. Here, let's see.
Did you bring it up?
Here, I thought. I didn't click. I didn't. I brought up a different window. Sorry. Here, share this tab.
Share this one instead. Here.
Yeah. There we go. So, criticized anti-fans, individuals who he claims actively work to see certain games fail as a form of punishment. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yes, there are people who actively work to see your game fail because you've tried to ruin a property that they care about. But to then say that no, that your game failed because just because of these anti-fans. No, your game failed because you wrote something that was bad. So yeah, anyway. Yeah, anytime people start talking and trying to dog on fans and say it's the fans' fault that things failed, I've written them off completely.
I think you missed the big. I don't know if I don't trust the Park Place. I think that's a gay publication. I posted the original PC Gamer article though there in the chat.
Okay.
There was a bigger thing that guy said in that article. That I don't know if they put if they quoted there. With EA bosses convinced that the Nerd Cave would spill out its denizens to any game with BioWare on the box, their philosophy became that, quote, you didn't have to try and appeal to them. You had to worry about the people who weren't in the cave, which was the audience we actually wanted, which was much larger. So he said, so EA bosses used to refer to RPG stalwarts as living in the cave. That'd be the nerd cave you see where the nerds lived. Quote, you made an RPG and the nerds in the cave would always show up for an RPG because it was an RPG.
Okay.
That was the bigger... okay, hold on. Can you post the Park Place article in the chat? I just want to skim over that as well. Because I find that the PC Gamer article, oddly enough, it says a lot right, but a lot wrong at the same time.
Well, there's a lot of times these type of articles are just kind of, they share some of the information, but then some of the times they don't.
Well, it's just because they were the first, PC Gamer was the first one to report this, right? I it's odd, first of all, because PC Gamer is suddenly putting out a pro gamer article when for years they've been extremely anti gamer and just kind of dragging gamers through the mud. They do a good job in kind of pointing out, like, through all of this, that um the wrong people are running these studios in AAA gaming, and it kind of explains why AAA gaming has been in the state it's been in for over a decade now at this point. But then it does this weird thing and not really understanding. Like, it says that, part of that slop that these studios are putting out just to, appeal to people are acclaimed games like Mass Effect 2 and 3, or even like Dragon Age Inquisition, which is really strange as well. They do point out that there is a valid criticism and that gamers will just buy anything. I think that's the biggest reason why Ubisoft was able to have a little bit better of a financial year this past year than the last 5 years. But then they go back and then start kind of like, they just go back to the boss's words and then try to pick on gamers again. The article's just all over the place.
Yeah, I'm trying to read through it, and it's all over.
It's a mismatch of ideas. Yeah.
So essentially, the EA bosses were saying that if you, if we make something and it has Bioware on the box, the nerds will buy it.
Pretty much, yeah. It doesn't.
And
We can put out anything, and gamers will still buy it because it says Bioware on it, which to
Yeah.
an extent is kind of true.
It was for a while, yeah.
Yeah.
It really was for quite some time. And you had kind of what he's saying is that they decided to sort of dumb down the games to give them a more cinematic focus instead of the more RPG, classic RPG, lots of stats and dealing with, leveling up this and that and min-maxing your character and whatever, like doing that stuff. So instead, it's just, we're just going to hack and slash and run and gun, but we're still going to call it an RPG kind of a thing. So, yeah, I had not actually seen this article before. So, yeah, and let's be honest, some of those games were really good. Mass Effect 2 is still one of my favorite games of all time. It's a masterpiece. It really does balance the RPG elements and the action elements and the story. It's very cinematic. It's a fantastic game, but admittedly, yeah, it's not the same kind of. It's not the same as the first Dragon Age game, right?
Exactly.
There's not this interesting, sort of unique leveling system where you can decide what your specialization is and stuff. But that's fine. There's enough of it in there that you can make the character that fits the gameplay that you want. But yeah, it's interesting. So I guess this guy hasn't actually been out BioWare since 2016, so he didn't contribute to Veilguard at all.
No. I don't think he would have even actually oh no, Dragon Age Inquisition was, I think, 2014.
Yeah, it was quite a while ago.
Yeah,
it was 2014. So he would have contributed to that most likely, but more
someone
and more
eating
fandoms...
a granola bar or something right now.
Something crunchy. It's not me.
You mean
No,
you're a rapper.
I was far away from the mic, but you heard it anyways.
I heard it anyways. Yeah, my volume isn't even maxed out either.
Alyssa Marie says, I loved Walking Dead, but once Rick left, it wasn't the same. He was the best. You know what? I liked Rick, but honestly, even before he left, once they made him a loser and Negan showed up and he was like a bum, that was the turning point for me. That and what happened with Glenn, that whole thing annoyed me.
Bro,
Yeah.
I can't believe that they had Rick and Michonne, because my mom still watched it for a very long time after I quit. And I watched an episode just once with her. I think it was like in season 8 or something like that, or 9 or 10. And Rick and Michonne are kind of like living this white picket romance fantasy thing in some settlement. I'm just like, what the fuck? What? The great thing about Rick was that he was like being a family man, being a one woman man, being so devoted to Lori was a huge deal for him. That was like a great, because you didn't have to worry about him being the face of romance otherwise. He could just focus on being a family man in the apocalypse.
Well, she did die, and at the end, he is a
I
man.
don't care. He didn't need to do that. And then he
It's
gets
an
together
apocalypse. You know what I
with
mean?
the
He needed to.
ugliest, most butch looking possible. Come on.
Dude, Rick
He
needed to get his dick wet, okay?
He could get his dick wet with far better options than whatever
he
the fuck
he
Michonne
he
was. Let's
wanted
be
to
honest.
find someplace warm to put his
There
equipment.
are zombies in the sun that would have been warm and much better looking.
I don't know. I thought Michonne was a cool character
Oh.
personally, but
She was a cool character. She was not hot. I would not look at Michonne in the apocalypse and like, yeah, let me get in them stanky draws, girl. No. There were
anyhow,
better options for Rick.
I will say I did actually go back. I watched the little mini series where they got the two of them back together just to sort of wrap up the show completely. Like the other spin-offs, I just don't even care. Not
The
even a
Daryl
little.
Dixon one apparently was good, I heard.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't bother.
Where somehow he gets taken off to France? Sure. Okay.
how was the show
Oh.
with Rick and Michonne? Was it any good?
No, not really. It was a real mess. The whole thing was Michonne desperately trying to find him, only to find out that he was taken by this sort of like imperialistic group that runs Philadelphia, and he's been broken, and so now he's this broken man who serves this empire that up there. And she finally finds him, and he's like, "No, you have to leave. No, you can't stay.
Sounds terrible.
I can't protect you here. You can't stay." So then he finds a way for her to escape, says, I have to stay here. You got to escape. So he helps her escape. So she turns around and comes back because she's not going to leave without him. And so they do this back and forth for a while. It was terrible.
That's why it's The Walking Dead kind of single-handedly killed zombie media.
Yeah.
Which is really sad because I still think there's good human stories you can have with that, but like they're like nobody wants zombie. Well, we're gonna get 28 years later next month, so zombies are back on the menu.
And Adam Gray says, Carl.
Istophoba says he knew Andrew Lincoln pretty well for a while. He was around a lot and was a very cool guy.
Yeah.
That's
I
nice.
like Andrew Lincoln. I do. I think
do
he's a
too.
good actor.
Seems cool. Yeah, he's a good
and
actor.
he definitely, I look forward to different projects. And I don't blame him for where they took the character of Rick. I think he played it very, very well. And I always enjoyed him in the role. It was just that where they went with the character was kind of
Let's see what he's got coming up.
I feel like Elizabeth Quince. I missed some of her comments, and she's a member on the Rumble side.
Mm-hmm.
I do see this. She hated Mad Men. Dear Friend's dad was one. He was pretty evil. She ended up extremely successful. Maybe sometimes these shows rub people the wrong way, but I thought he was like a good fictional character.
Mm-hmm.
And John Hamm played him to perfection, in my opinion.
Don Draper?
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. That was his big break. There's like, you can like see interviews of him during like when Mad Men was running, how like he struggled for like 15 years to become an actor, and Mad Men was his break, and he was almost 40 when that happened.
There's a movie once, I don't remember which one it is, that he was so small time that like he has the smallest role in that movie, and I think that's the type of roles he would get. He just needed like the right role, and I feel like Don Draper just is so good for him.
Yeah, he was perfect for it. Yeah.
And since then, any role that they take him, they want to capitalize on some of his Don Draper vibe. But I don't have an issue with that. I mean, if you have that vibe, why not capitalize on it?
It's like Michael C. Hall with Dexter. He's got just like an inherently dark vibe to him. So he really should have taken off as being the villain in more movies and shows, and he just kind of went kaput. Oh, he's in Landman? John Hamm is in Landman?
The problem, he plays a very minor role on that show, but they just started a new show with him on Apple. I saw the first 2 episodes and really liked them, and I was really entertained by them. I haven't
Your
had time to
Friends and
catch up yet.
Neighbors?
Yes.
Yes. I
I
actually
saw,
kind of liked it.
okay. I did see this pop up on my Apple TV app, but I'm just like, Apple disappoints me so often that I've really only seen one thing out of so many things that has actually stood out and managed to stay good.
Well, I don't know if it'll stay good, but the first 2 episodes of that Friends and Neighbors or whatever it is, I actually really enjoyed it,
That's
and I
not
plan to
enough for
catch up.
me.
What'd you
No,
say?
it's I'm sorry, it's not the first 2 episodes. No, because then here's what I'm gonna expect. This is gonna be an 8 to 10 episode season, right? It's gonna do really good for the first 3 episodes. Then it's gonna lull for 4, 5, 6, and half of 7, and then it's gonna pick up in the second half of 7, and then 8, wither a little bit in 9, and peak in 10. I can't do it, Apple. Fuck you, Apple. Sorry, Sean. Like, I'm so can I just for a moment, please? Okay. It blows my mind that Apple objectively is putting out the most beautiful productions of any studio in Hollywood right now, both in terms of film and television, and they spend tens of hundreds of millions of dollars on it, and they can't manage to find one fucking competent guy to write one good fucking script to make sure it all comes together. It's like someone giving you a piece of shit on like a brand spanking new beautiful china plate, but it's been spray painted with gold, so I'm supposed to think it's beautiful or it's art or like this is a token memento from a civilization of a different time. Like, Apple, fuck you. Sorry, Sean. Get your shit together. Sorry, Sean.
I have been told repeatedly that Slow Horses is an excellent show, and I've not gone back to watch it. But that's an Apple TV one.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing about that and Blackbird. I've heard good things.
Blackbird?
I haven't watched that
Okay.
either.
Silo was enjoyable, a little too slow, especially the second season. Second season could have been 4 episodes instead of 8.
Oh, you know what? Istophobos, I did like Sugar, actually. Okay, so there's 2 things on Apple that I liked. For Silo, I watched the first season. I started it and I got bored.
Yeah,
So
there,
I
it
came
does.
back.
It slows down for a couple of episodes in the middle, and then it picks back up. But yeah,
Right.
it's the first season was quite good. The second season was not bad. It just it spent way too much of its time trying to tell us stories about characters that we just don't care about. It should have been, yeah, much quicker in moving through the story. It's 4 episodes worth of content stretched out over 8 episodes. So yeah.
That's kind of how I felt with season 1, if I'm on. Like, I haven't read the books, so I don't know how the books go, but it very much felt like, so those first 3 episodes were great. And then 4, 5, 6, and 7, it just kind of dawdled, and it seemed to explore all of these different plot lines and subplots with these characters that didn't really matter for far too long. When all I really cared about and all you had really primed me for in those first 3 episodes was the main mystery surrounding Rebecca Ferguson. And then it ended off on a good note, but like that good note wasn't good enough for me to want to bother with a second season. Like Severance season 1 was perfect. I actually think that season 1 is a 10 out of 10. I would rank it in the top 10 best first seasons of any show I've ever seen. I've heard bad things about season 2, and I kind of just don't want to even bother. I just want to remember season 1 as being that brilliant and not come back. Ted Lasso is another great example. Perfect season 1 setup, and then it just became fucking garbage. Sorry, Sean. Like, woke, progressive, dumb garbage. They had like legitimately, I'm not even joking. You can find this scene. So Ted is like trying to like do this bonding episode with the teammates, right? Because like they're on a bit of a losing streak now, so they think that maybe just like the team bonds are not as strong as they used to do. What would you normally do for like a bonding exercise out of curiosity? Like what would you do?
I don't know.
rope
What were
sport.
we talking about? I had a technical issue. What show?
Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso, the first season was good, and then I started watching the second season, and in the first scene, nothing personal, but this is just what I saw. A diverse woman walks up to like Ted Lasso and starts telling him what to do, and he like starts like bowing down to her. And I said like, okay, I'm out.
It gets worse. Okay, so the team building exercise that they want to do I think this was in season 3. Yeah, this was in season 3. So there's like this whole like the red string of fate kind of thing that Ted is on. So he thinks
Okay.
that, oh, I can form bonds and make sure that they deliver good plays and understand where their teammates are going. If I tie one end of this to one of their dicks and then I tie the other end to their partner's dick. So now if they run in the wrong direction or they don't do the play well, someone gets the tug of a string pulling them full force on their dick.
Ugh, that sounds weird.
This is Apple Television, bruh. This is the best show that Apple could have had. This is where it ended up.
Well, I'm happy that I bailed when I did, but Istophobos gave 5 Price of Reason Live gift memberships. He gave us a gift, and I really appreciate it. Istophobos has been active tonight, both on the Rumble side and on the YouTube side, and he's always he's a friend of the channel. He's been even on this stream a number of times, and he's a really good guy. So thank you, Istophobos. Really appreciate that. He also had a comment for Vex here. Slow Horses may be the best show on TV. They get the season out yearly on time too, but they are based on books, so the script is mostly written by a good writer. Fair enough.
Interesting. I know
Never
Gary
watched it.
Oldman is in that, and Gary Oldman's one of my favorite actors, so I should probably,
Absolutely stellar
yeah,
actor.
I
He
should
is a
check
good
it
actor,
out.
yes.
Yeah.
But when it comes to how did we get here? Severance. The first season was fantastic, and then the second season went off a cliff, in my opinion.
It was a real
Mm.
mess.
See,
as much as I really tried to enjoy it, it was just a mess.
they fumbled every chance they could to put that season like on the right path, and it seems just like, I know it got better ratings and people were watching it and people were all into it, but the truth is, if you really understand, if you're really critical and you look at it, when it comes to writing, season 1 was well made, season 2 was a mess, and so many mistakes and so many poor decisions in that season. I don't think it's going to get any better either. I think that they really ruined it with that second season.
Yeah. I've kind of given up on Apple TV shows for again, it's hard. Like, I watched that Fountain of Youth movie that came out this past week with John Krasinski and Natalie Portman. I was just like, I like John Krasinski, and he's good in those action-oriented roles because I liked him as Jack Reacher in that one movie.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'll give this a shot. Oh my god, I wanted to bash my head against a fucking wall. How do you say $180 billion budget? They actually filmed like properly at the pyramids of Giza. Like, they set up fucking shooting at the actual pyramids of Giza. They go to, was it Amsterdam? They shoot across London. They shoot across oh my god, I want to say it was New York City. I could be, but they go to several locations that aren't exactly cheap to film in, and it's just like it. I know we say this a lot, but really it is like if you just typed a prompt into Chat GPT, this like Fountain of Youth is what you would get out of it. And for some reason, Natalie Portman, I can't fucking stand Natalie Portman. I'm sorry. She peaked with Black Swan and she's done nothing good or of relevance ever since. And she was just completely wrong for this role. They make her, for some reason, they make her the man in her crumbling marriage. So, like, you know how courts are usually in the favor of the mother when it comes to divorce and custody, right?
Oh yeah.
So instead, they make it seem like the husband is the woman that's going to get default custody, and she's the man in that situation. And the husband is doing what women would normally do during a divorce. It's just stupid. And Isa Gonzalez is in there. I don't think she's a great actress, but she's hot. And she has this whole like sexual chemistry with John Krasinski throughout the film. And in the meantime, they've got her dressed like she's in a fucking burqa the whole time. You have this woman who's acting sexy, who's supposed to be a romantic interest, and you've got her covered from head to fucking toe. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this. Natalie Portman. I think that like when she was young, she seemed nice enough in her younger years, but she got that kind of I don't know. Maybe she was always a bit pompous or was always heading in that direction. But I think they gave her like an Academy Award or something. I don't know what they
She got an
did.
Oscar, yeah.
She
Yeah.
She
got
got a
an
couple
Oscar.
Oscars, actually.
I feel like from the second they gave her an Oscar, she became like pompous, super like woke, pompous, and annoying. And then it's like, even with Marvel, she's like, I don't want to be in this movie. Why isn't there a woman director? Why isn't there woman this? Why isn't woman that? Why don't you just shut the fuck up? You know what I mean? Like, and then finally at the end, she's like, fine, I'll return, but I have to be Thor. Like, how did they get her back? They're like, Natalie, you'll be Thor in this one. It's like, why are you even kissing her ass? Like, fuck her. Sorry, Sean.
Oh, okay. So she won an Oscar for Black Swan, and she
Yep.
was nominated for Jackie in 2017, and she was nominated in 2005 for Closer.
Well,
We need to do a Star Trek review show with Vex where she comes on and goes, "What the hell's happening?
I hate this.
What is this?"
No offense, but no, I don't want to review any Star Trek show. I'm sorry. I have no
Who is this
interest.
pussy? What is he doing? Why has he got that shit on his face? Sorry, Sean.
Anyhow, where were we? What we were? Did we have something we were talking about before we completely went off the rails here?
I don't remember. Yeah.
It sure was a great show we had here once.
It started off good. We had some stuff going on initially. I'm just trying to think for a second. You know, there was one thing that I wanted to show you.
Okay.
I posted this today myself, and the reason I posted it because I thought it was funny, but I just wanted to share it with everybody here. Do you see it?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So
Liam Hemsworth.
Oh, I thought this was the last season.
Okay, they've decided they're filming 2 seasons back to back, 4 and 5, with Liam Hemsworth.
Is
So this
4
is
out
what he
yet?
looks like as, you know, replacing Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
It looks kind of weird.
Okay, listen, this is going to be a really hot take, okay? And this is only going to be a hot take because I think Liam Hemsworth is the hottest Hemsworth brother. But post-production, I think it will look a whole lot better. Because remember, even when we looked at those behind-the-scenes photos of Henry Cavill in them, the suit didn't look right in the like the outfit didn't look right in the broad daylight of day, you know, but it looked great in the actual, well, at least in the first season of the show. Second season of the show, you could tell that they were really pushing it with that wardrobe. But I'm not completely like no to this casting, even though I will agree that he's not the best fit for it. But I also wonder if this is more of a, oh, we're gonna do one final season. Oh, we're just gonna take the final season and split it in 2.
There's a lot of that going around.
Yeah, that could be an option. I don't know. In any case, this guy, I don't know. I think they should have just stopped this show. The show, the
Agreed.
3rd season was so bad that they should have just shut it down. There's no need to continue. They're just throwing good money after bad, or bad money after good, or bad money after bad. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say.
Hot take: season 1 was bad too.
Season 1 had flaws, but I still enjoyed it. Season 2 started already like wobbling around. Season 3 went off a cliff, and I feel like there was no point in making any more.
Yeah, I tried to watch, because I watched season 1 mainly because of Henry Cavill, okay? Because we all know that Cavill gets the blood and the juices flowing for me. But it's just like, as an adaptation, I haven't read the books. I've just played Witcher 2 and Witcher 3. I wasn't a big fan of how they chose to adapt it. I was even less happy with the things that they decided to swap out and change, just kind of for the sake of a more progressive storyline. Which again, it's a shame because Henry Cavill was so perfectly cast and he's a fan. So he did the best he could to get the character right. So I wasn't very impressed with season 1. I would give season 1 like at best like a 5 out of 10 maybe. And Henry Cavill in that tub is really carrying it, let's be honest. And I tried to watch season 2 and I gave up after the first episode. It looked really corny. The production value had severely dropped. The costumes were ill-fitting. His wig looked fucking terrible. It just like the plot line felt even more because they rushed through so much for the first season in order to set up all of these different factions and all of these different characters so they could run with all of these additional storylines that weren't in the source material, right? Like Yennefer and Triss don't really have like massive stories of their own. Their stories are completely dependent on what Geralt does and what Geralt is experiencing. So I couldn't get into season 2, unfortunately. So it's a shame though. This could have been a big thing for Netflix, which is wild. Like this could have like really brought in the billions for Netflix. I know it's like they're not exactly drowning for money yet or anything like that. They're still the most popular streaming service, but this could have been huge for Netflix if they had just done it right. It's not that hard to do it right. Sorry,
Yeah,
my
I tend to
spiel's
agree.
over.
Double R Star says, I like the guest
I think it's
TB.
supposed to say this week.
Oh, I saw BJ and I thought to myself, we haven't really gotten to that part of the show yet.
No, hold on. You were expecting to go there. Thank you.
I mean, we started talking about Henry Cavill, so.
Oh, okay, that's fair. That's fair. Thank you, Double R Star. And also, if anyone knows Henry Cavill, I am in need of I am a fertile womb that is looking. There we go. If anyone knows Henry Cavill. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Say no more, Bruce.
Was there any other pressing news that you had to go over this evening, Price?
No, but I do have a throwback moment, something that sometimes I feel like I'm on the right side of history. Like something happens, I give a take, and immediately it's like a great take that ages like wine.
Okay.
So I can't explain why I saw this. I happened to be looking for another tweet, and I ran into this one this week. And I thought to myself, man, I'm always like I don't want to say I'm always on top of my game. That sounds arrogant.
I'm always a desperate for more clicks and therefore have no life outside of the internet. We can go with that if you want.
So basically, I don't know if you remember during the Summer of Love with Mr. Floyd.
Yes.
By the way, I heard that he's now officially 5 years sober this past week.
Yeah, congratulations, George.
So in any case, during the Floyd festivals in the Summer of Love, everybody was scared, all these kind of supposedly companies, and they decided to take Uncle Ben's rice and change it so that it's now called like Ben's Original. And this is what I wrote. And I immediately wrote it like 5 seconds after they changed it. I wrote, Uncle Ben's Rice changing its name to Ben's Original Rice. Some of the dumbest and most hypocritical shit I've ever seen. Is there anybody in the world that thinks this actually solves racism? And I think it was a great answer. Like, I think that was a great take. As much as that was like a great take at that moment, looking at it now, like, 5 years later, I think that it's a great take. You know what I mean? It's
Hold on.
What? Was that the stupidest thing ever?
I have a question here, Price. Do
Yes.
you bookmark your own tweets to come back to later?
No, I only because I ran into it because I was looking for something else, and I bookmarked it, and I said to myself, maybe I actually thought on this show of showing something that, like I said 5 years ago, and how it aged like wine. This was all planned. Like, I thought to myself, this is great.
Listen, I don't know, maybe R2 will agree to me, but you know how Ted Bundy used to go back and revisit murder sites and like jack off to them? I'm kind of getting those vibes right now.
No.
Price just revisits tweets. I was so right.
Oh, God.
I was so right.
I was right.
I love you, Price. I'm just kidding.
Anyhow, the final thing is that, and this I wanted to ask you, Professor. I feel like Elon Musk has really taken a step back from all of this Doge stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I'm starting to think that maybe he wanted to do all this stuff, and they didn't also let him do what he wanted. They're not codifying his changes. They're not like, it's been damaging to his own brands, and I feel like he's taken a step back.
Yeah, I think he's a little frustrated that they have not been actually implementing some of the stuff as much as he had hoped. And yes, it has been, I think, personally damaging to him and to his brand. And I think I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he felt perhaps maybe a little bit betrayed by Trump and some of the stuff that's been going on in the administration. Doge is still continuing to do its work. They're still continuing to find stuff, but it's also really a little bit depressing when you're going and doing this work. You're sort of headlining all this work to, we're going to save money, we're going to cut costs here and there, we're going to help to make the government more efficient, and then there's the big beautiful bill that's spending a ton of money. So
Sorry, do you mind just providing a bit of context? I am aware that Elon Musk has stepped down, quote unquote, as what the media said, from Doge. But like, what's going on here?
well, the just say he's been talking about stepping back, and then the Doge group continues to work in the government, continuing to find
Yeah.
stuff and make improvements and whatever.
Mhm.
But there's been a lot of changes that have been recommended that haven't necessarily been included in any bills or anything to be sort of
Do you
codified
have
in
some
law.
example?
I not off the top of my head.
Okay.
So some of the changes are things that they could make administratively just inside of different departments, but then there's
Like
other things
easy
that,
changes that they could just do
yeah, yeah.
off the
Well, we
bat.
can, they can come in and say, "Hey, we've got a computer system over here. The computer system's from 1960. Let's replace this with something else."
Mhm.
Right? They can do that. The executive branch can say, "Sure, we'll do that. Here's whatever." But when it comes to like actually reforming certain programs, pulling money out of certain areas, that all has to happen through the legislative branch.
Mhm.
And in a lot of cases, they haven't really been following through with doing that. Right? And so I think that's been discouraging. Then there's the quote unquote big beautiful bill, the spending
What
bill
is
with
that?
the
Sorry.
it's Donald Trump's sort of signature bill right now that he's helping to work through Congress. That's likely, well, we'll see. There's a good chance it passes, maybe with some minor changes sometime soon. But it's got all of the spending priorities for Trump and tax cuts and all of that
Mhm.
stuff that's in there, and a whole bunch of it. Once again, his whole point, the whole thing with Doge was, let's trim government, let's cut back, let's save money where we can, improve things where we can, and then now they're going ahead with this gigantic spending bill that is just going to continue to raise the deficit. So
Did sorry, just to Istophobos comment. So Elon was a bit let down by the administration that he dedicated his time and made serious sacrifices for. He secured a few $1 billion government contracts for EVs and green
eh,
tech.
he was going to get a lot of that anyway.
Was he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that the amount of fire he had to absorb in order to do the Doge thing, how much it affected like his own brand, like Tesla and thing like that. He did actually put a lot on the line to do this, and I think he was doing that really hoping that his changes would be implemented, that all this stuff with Doge would be codified in law by the Senate or whatever it is, by Congress. And he just, I think, felt that he's doing all this stuff which is helping them, but they're not really, taking
Yeah.
it seriously.
Tesla
Yeah.
stock is doing pretty fine.
Well,
It's
a
doing
lot of it
well.
has to do with when he took a step back and started focusing on Tesla again, I think.
Okay, like there's a little bit of a dip here. March 10th, it looks like, is when the biggest one, and then there's another dip on April 8th. But otherwise, it's in the green. It's on the up and up For the last 6 months, the average is 5.4% up. I know Tesla is doing very well up here in Canada, despite what Canadians like to say about Donald Trump, but that's because there's incentives that the government gives you to buy EVs or green vehicles. I'm also aware that Donald Trump canceled like an EV charging station uh, agreement, like for building and whatnot. It was like it was a few $1 billion, the project. I can't remember if it was with like Ford or something like that, but he canceled it, increased the amount, and he gave it to Musk instead. There's two other contracts that he secured. One of them was military. I can't remember what the other one was, but I would say that regardless of what is going on at the forefront with this kind of stuff, I think Elon's doing just fine, and he's gotten quite a bit out of being in government for the short time that he was there.
I'm not worried about Elon, but I will say that when you have people trying to blow up your dealerships of Tesla and whatever, he got the type of heat that I think was more than he really wanted, and at the end they didn't actually. They didn't do what they said. I like Professor was saying. I think he feels disappointed by the administration that they didn't.
Hold on. Let me just question your logic here a little bit.
Okay.
You're telling me the guy that went on national TV and said "fuck Disney" is a little worried about the heat he might get?
Oh, I'm not saying that he can't put up with the heat, but I'm just saying that I do think that the executive board at Tesla and thing, even though they said it wasn't true, I think there was a lot of pressure on him to sort of steer away from this. He was becoming very political, and it seems clear that over the past maybe month or so, he's really taken more of a low profile. He's not talking about Doge every second, not talking about the government every second.
Not trying to find loose conservative women to make more children with.
That maybe he's still doing. I don't know, but in any case,
I think he's still working on that.
He's still trolling for pussy on Twitter. Yep.
Well, when you have like hundreds of billions of dollars, like that's you have to.
I would say that was a bit of a scandal right there. Just when all of him like stepping down from office, that whole thing started to blow up as well.
I guess.
I don't know if that had any influence, but like I know that for some people that does kind of influence how you view a person and how they take care of their family and also who they choose to stick their dick in.
I do feel there was a shift, though. I feel like up until a month ago, he seemed, or so, he seemed a lot more enthusiastic about being involved in all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And now it seems like he's really quiet about it, not talking about Doge every second, less jokes, more just saying, I'm going to work on this, I'm going to work on that. He still has stuff that he talks about that may be more political, but he's not as aggressive as he was maybe up until a month ago.
Yeah, I've noticed even just like his general presence on Twitter isn't as strong as it used to be the last month and a half. Because he was popping up on my timeline almost every day at one point, or people were retweeting him.
Picking fights with stuff, you know what I mean? Picking fights involved in everything. Every single thing he wants to weigh in on. He wants to do this. Also talking about world events. There's elections in this country. He's there. He's there. He was like all over the place. And then suddenly in the past month and a half, barely hear him talking or doing anything. So I don't think that it's I don't think it's a coincidence. I'm not saying he's not going to still do stuff behind the scenes, and I'm not saying he's not working with the government. I'm sure he'll have a decent relationship with all these people and all that stuff, but I think that something about his mindset has changed over the past month or month and a half.
Okay.
It's okay though.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I honestly, if I had hundreds of billions of dollars, I probably wouldn't be doing anything that he's doing. I would be like, with hundreds of billions of dollars, I could buy my own island. I think that would be more the direction of what I was looking to do.
Okay, Price, first there was the going back and seeing my old tweets. Now you're giving a little bit of Epstein vibes. Oh, I go buy an island.
I'm not going to bring
give us any
kids
more than that.
I'm not going to bring children on it. I don't know.
I'm going to be a billionaire by an island.
It's not that kind of island. I just want to hang out. Like I want peace and quiet. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Fine. You can't even own an island anymore. Like, without people raising an eyebrow.
Islands have a bad name now, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a bad thing now. I understand. By the way, it reminds me, they made a movie like inspired by that. Did you ever see the movie Blink Twice, Vex?
No, but I remember you put out a review on
It
it.
was so annoying, that movie. It was so annoying. I'm annoyed that I actually saw the movie. I was annoyed while I was in the theater watching it.
I'm sorry.
It's
about
not.
that.
It's like it's a semi-competent movie. It's like it's not poorly made, but I just never want to. I'm sad that I watched it, and I never want to watch it again.
I can understand that there's many movies I would never watch again as well.
Mars Monkey Masks. Did you all see President Macron get slapped by his wife? I didn't see that. Did he? Did he?
Really? You didn't see that?
Yes, yeah.
He
I
did.
saw
He
that.
got slapped by his wife.
Yep.
Yeah. If you search it up, you'll find the clip.
Okay. Well, now I'm curious.
They tried to play it off as like, oh, it was just playful and nothing to worry about. But yeah, his broomer was manhandling him a little bit. I think it's playful, to be honest. I don't know what you thought, Artoo.
Yeah, it didn't look particularly violent to
Yeah.
me. It looked more like I
It's like
you when you have those little tiffs, you're like, son of a bitch.
right. I
You
kind
just
of think of it
you
as
sort
like
of smack somebody. It's not like giving him a real pop because he did something terrible,
right.
right?
I kind of saw it as like when my husband eats something like really oniony or garlicky and he tries to do the thing at you and you just kind of like shove his face away, sort of like that, playfully.
Yeah.
Can you
That's how
see
I
it?
saw it.
Let's look at it. Okay. It's not really a slap, but it doesn't make him look great either. You know what I mean? It's fine if you a couple is arguing and behaving oddly, but I guess in public like that, it kind of looks
It
strange.
doesn't, yeah. It's not a good thing to have filmed.
You
That's for
know,
sure.
I also have to say here, what is it? I don't remember. Is Macron's wife? Isn't she? She didn't used to be his teacher or something. Isn't there
Yep.
something?
She
There's
used to be
something
his teacher.
strange about that whole situation. No.
She basically broomed him, yes. There's also the rumors that she is indeed a man. It's another thing. Yeah, it's a questionable relationship, though. Very questionable.
See, that's the thing that like already the other stuff was already kind of strange. I mean, I'm not saying I don't know the ages of when she was his teacher or when they were together, but the whole teacher student thing is kind of strange to me.
No comment.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play it safe on that one.
Somebody says, remember when Trump's wife refused to hold his hand or live with him? You know what? There was something that he like tried to hold her hand and she pulled her hand back, but it still didn't look as silly. Like the thing now with Macron getting that like thing in his face, even if it's innocent, it really isn't a good look.
Things got really weird when they got to the bottom of the stairs, though.
No, based on his adventures with Justin Trudeau last year, I think that's something he might like.
Yeah. I enjoyed the
Caleb Levine said she was
The
his
wig.
nanny. Oh wait, that was Jill Biden.
Yeah, Jill's a bit older than Joe. That's another thing. Did you guys see that Hugh Jackman's ex-wife finally like broke her silence on their divorce and basically confirmed that he cheated on her?
No, I didn't see that. Where did this happen?
Hold on. Let me hook you up with the info. There you go.
I hadn't seen anything about her breaking her silence, but yeah, it had been pretty heavily rumored
Implied.
that he had cheated
Was
on
it?
her.
Was it? Don't laugh at me. I'm not trying to accuse him of anything just because people sometimes say, was it with a man or a woman?
It was with a younger woman that looks kind of like a Dylan Mulvaney.
That's strange. Where's the do you have the Dylan Mulvaney person?
I can, if it's not loading there, hold on. I can look it up. But yeah, she says betrayal in her statements, so I think that pretty obviously implies that
You
He
know,
cheated.
I don't know how to navigate around this one. I've
Go
seen
on.
pictures before of Hugh Jackman and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
He, for many years, stayed in good shape, looking, very good for his age. Over the years, when I'd see them together, she didn't.
She's much older than him. She's like 10 or 12 years older than him. Here's some pictures of his new girlfriend. But like they met way back, I think it was in like the late 80s, early 90s. She looked great at that time. She just didn't age very well.
I
That's all.
understand.
Yeah.
Listen, this is a difficult for one for me because at the end of the day, he's Hugh Jackman. He goes to the gym. He looks, good for his
He
age,
does roids, yep, yeah.
probably. And
He
all these younger
yeah.
ladies smile at him and whatever. And I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm not saying like, oh, like you go, Hugh. You know what I mean? I'm not saying this is a good thing to do, but when I look at it from the side and try to be objective, I can sort of understand what happened and how it developed.
I'm gonna respectfully disagree with you, Price.
In what way you think that?
I don't, especially I think when you've been together that long and you're of that age, I don't think physical attraction is the only thing that draws you to your partner anymore. I would suspect there were much bigger issues in that relationship. His stardom probably had something to do with it. I'm not going to deny that because you see that kind of time and time again with when a power dynamic shifts and whatnot, right? But because like Pierce Brosnan is a great example. He's been with his wife for like 30 years. She's
Didn't
put
his
on a
wife
lot.
pass away?
His first wife did, but he remarried. So his current wife,
Okay.
right? But she was an absolute babe when they got together and everything. And she's a much older woman. She's put on a lot of weight. And a lot of people are like, why hasn't he divorced her yet? She's nowhere near as attractive as he is. And just like, he doesn't care about that. That's the woman he loves no matter what size she is. And she's also given him children. So why is that something to be ashamed of, sort of deal? Yeah, some of the pictures of this woman are questionable because, like, the one on the right kind of looks like a dude. If you scroll down, there's another one that really looks like a dude.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, scroll down. It's a little bit further down. That one's fine in the dress. This one's okay.
Kind of like the Joker.
With the eyebrows, maybe, yeah.
The
I think
mouth also.
I think it's the
Wow.
one after this. No, no, not the video. No, this one. That's a fucking dude. That is a dude on on estrogen. Tell me that is not a fucking dude on the left.
Well, the guy on the right is a dude.
Yeah.
He's not the one going out with Hugh Jackman. Are you talking about the one on the left?
That's supposed to be a woman.
She's not with makeup. She's without makeup.
No. That's fine. But without makeup is where you really see a true. Look at those fucking hands, man. Look at that hand.
She does a lot of work in the field.
She's a stage actress.
They
That's
work
how they
very
get.
hard these days.
I'm just saying, I wouldn't be surprised if there were a tiny little peen under there because we all suspect that he might be gay anyways.
Anything is possible. But I don't want to jump to conclusions. She, I guess, kind of looks womany from this angle, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of. Here, they both have this weird smile. They both have this kind of phony chuckle. Maybe that's what they see in each other.
Yeah, Brosnan's wife just lost a lot of, like Caleb, Brosnan's wife just lost a ton of weight recently. I think she looks fine, I don't get why she gets so much hate at her. Like, as a woman, wouldn't you want to prop up another woman that's in a happy and healthy long-term marriage and your husband still holds you like you're that tight 24-year-old you were 40 years ago?
What a weird commercial this is. What is this?
Some ridiculous
muscle
AI
after 60.
crap.
It's not about protein. Vex likes this, though.
Not really, no. I don't know why you think I would.
Wait, so Pierce Brosnan, let me look at his wife.
Okay.
Because we only do very fancy and sophisticated things here on the Night Owl. Like looking if his wife has gained weight or not.
While we offer you sandwiches and soup.
Yeah, Here, I can show. Here's a picture. This is from last year.
Yeah, she's lost some weight since this photo was
Yeah.
taken.
She's lost some weight, but this is their after their 25th wedding anniversary. Yeah.
I mean, listen, he's not, he's not 20 years old.
Look
He's
at what
been,
she looked like in her prime when they first got together.
Yeah, there was a picture up here. Yeah.
There you go.
well, I mean, she looked pretty decent there, yeah. I mean, he himself also is, age.
You're just getting you're just getting old. What's the
Yeah,
big deal?
You're just getting older. Yep. And she's probably used some Ozempic or something like that, help lose the weight, and you know what? That's fine.
What you said that now she
Unfortunately.
lost weight, right?
Apparently,
Yeah.
there's some newer photos where she has lost weight. What is her name? Pierce Brosnan's wife?
Kaylee
That's her name. She
Shea
changed it
Brosnan.
legally. When you look at her ID, it says Pierce Brosnan's wife.
Keely
So,
Shea Brosnan.
This is a before and after. Are you ready?
Okay.
You may not be so excited about this, Vex.
Okay.
Her name is Keely Shea. So, the one on the left is before, and the one on the right is after.
Are we sure?
Let's see. I mean, they said she lost 100 pounds, but I'm not sure where those 100 went. I mean,
Yeah, I don't think this picture is really accurate.
let's see. Maybe this is it. This is one. Okay, this is a new one. Keely looks amazing. She lost weight, blah, blah. Okay, here it is. Share this tab instead.
Ah, there we go. That's the newer one I've seen. Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. Listen, he's not 20 there. I mean, he also,
You can see he's actually lost a little bit of weight himself.
he's lost
Yeah.
a bit of, maybe they're both Ozempicing.
Yeah.
Don't kid yourself. Absolutely every actor is taking Ozempic. Every last one of them.
I believe it.
I don't think she looks bad even in her age right now.
No.
I think she looks like she still has a feminine figure. A lot of women her age just kind of blow out and sag. There's not much of a shape there anymore, but she at least has a feminine shape with the weight gain.
Well,
Yeah.
he says, Pierce Brosnan says, I love my wife's curves.
Good. Good for him.
Seems like a swell guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And there's another
And
recent photo from something. So yeah.
I don't get women, man. I really don't. Stupid bitches.
hold on one second. Well, I guess we're getting close to the end of our stream.
Why, yes. Yes, we are.
I guess we should start saying goodbye to people.
Yeah, give me just a moment. Get some
I only have a limited amount because I
Yep.
don't have like the thing running.
Here is. There's all of our Rumble friends. I put all of those in the chat for you.
While you look for this thing, I wanted to tell you that if you're on YouTube, you may notice that something called Shop pops up, where you can buy products of Price of Reason Live or from the Price of Reason store. And if you feel like it, you can buy something there and it supports our channel. Now, some of you may look at it and say, hey, why are you charging so much money for a shirt or for a mug or for a sticker or whatever you have there? And the reason for it is very simple. It's that I actually don't make all that money. I'm given, something for it. But these type of sites that create those products usually get to keep the lion's share of it. So
Can I make a recommendation, Bryce? Like, you're severely missing out on a couple items in your shop.
okay, what is it?
Okay. First off, why are there no women's underwear with the Price of Reason logo on the front?
Well, I don't have an answer for that. I don't know how
Okay.
many. I don't know how many
I
women out
think you're
there.
missing out on women potentially modeling your avatar on their crotch. Okay. Second of all, I don't
Yes.
see any bikini tops either. You could have a pair of tatas covered up, one Price of Reason, two Price of Reason.
You know what? I'm gonna actually look into this. But do you see the store? Because I don't even see it where I'm at. Like, does it
It
come up?
doesn't it doesn't show up under the live stream info, but if I go to your homepage, then there's a store tab and it shows
Ah,
everything there.
so let me see for a second if I can actually share it and show people. So you want to say that you'd be supporting the channel and it's great, and we're always very happy about that. But at the same time, okay, it says store here.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, Price
So
of Reason plushies. That's a huge missed opportunity right there.
well, they don't. I mean, that's something you have to create, and I think it's a little more difficult. This thing is like just very standard merch. So it has the night owl. It has a sticker. If you're looking for something that's more budget friendly, the stickers, the night owl sticker, the stickers are good. They're not too expensive. And like I said, all the shirts and all this stuff, I don't get the lion's share of it. Like I get something and it's good for me if you buy it, but it's not that I want it to be so much money. It's just that that's just how this works. So I'll understand. I mean, if somebody wants to buy it, it's cool, and I'll always be happy for the support. And it's nice that you have a shirt, but I'm not pressuring anybody, forcing anybody's hand. I'm a great salesman. Everybody's going to run to buy it now.
I'm not forcing you, but look as I scroll up and down.
Look up and down. There's like a sticker. You see, there's a sticker.
As I look back and forth.
I don't know why it's giving me
Back
like
and forth.
Australian dollars for some reason.
Yeah, it's doing that for me as well. I don't know why either.
Why? I'm not Australian. Even you know that.
I don't know that, but
This
guess
is
I do now.
apparently
Yeah.
this is what Robot Head sees whenever he's shopping.
He may even be watching now. So yeah, okay. So here it is, like $5 for a sticker. That's like more reasonable, I guess.
So that's pretty standard for custom stickers.
Yep.
Yeah, and then
To be
there's a
honest.
mug.
And then $6 to ship you the $5 sticker.
Well, nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
I hope the resolution is fine. I don't really even know. I'm really just testing this out. But yeah, there's a mug. If you like the Quantum Leap stream we do here, there's Quantum Leap Revisited.
I really think, Price, that you should consider making either a puppet or a finger puppet, just so people can also be inside you whenever they want.
Well, that's something to consider for sure.
So at night, they can have their fingers inside you.
I think she's wish casting.
I'm just putting the energy out there.
Yeah.
So that's all.
I
The chat
see.
seems to agree with me.
So yeah, there's mugs and stickers and shirts, and like I said, we don't pressure anybody to do anything, but of course, any kind of support is always appreciated. And at the same time, like I take no responsibility for these products. but if you want to buy them, that's cool. I left you with some food for thought.
A juicy roast beef sandwich for thought.
Oh, with sauce and lettuce.
Mm.
The fancy lettuce too, not that iceberg lettuce.
E. Clay Thomason says Vex agrees to model all swimsuits and underwear. Is that true?
Did not agree to that. No.
Then I would have I would actually make an effort.
Oh,
I'd send it myself
unfortunate.
just so you can walk around and
That's
a swimsuit.
unfortunate. Sorry.
Adam Gray says I usually make my panelists design their own merch and then sell it back to them.
I like that.
Anyhow, I guess we should start. Do you know who is here, Professor?
Indeed, I do. Over on Rumble, we had Bigot on Socialist Media, Kivo 1961, Bingo has met, Elizabeth Quince, Phantomunk, Istophobos, Rugus, Tim Hayes, Double R Star, and some late guy, Li 1990. And over on YouTube, we had let's see, Ace Hanlon, Alyssa Marie, Amelia Bedelia, Armad Adam Gray. I have Nerdick, Badfoot, Caleb Levine, DJ Playnice, E. Clay Thomason, FKHC 2005, Granola Grin, Istophobos, Jonathan Conroy, Keely Chow, Lasher, Marla Cherendoff, Marks 47, Mars Monkey Max, Mooley Porchers, Mur Rockstro, Phantom Outsider, Robnod Scubla, Robot Head. I guess he popped in for a little bit. Didn't see him.
When was he here?
Appears to have been here around midnight.
Did he say anything?
Dave Filoni has discussed how he views himself as a wolf. You're in good company.
I wish I had seen that live. That was actually funny.
Let's see. Samsung, Sean Green, Stephen Mack, The Dead Man, The Lovely Sherry, Tim Hayes, Vex Electronica, Whalem 03, Yitis, and Zone RJ5. So if we missed anyone, sorry about that, but thanks so much for joining us. And as always, thanks for joining us. Even if you're not hanging out in the chat, if you're just lurking, we appreciate you watching the show. Make sure to leave a like and
subscribe.
channel,
If you're watching this, if either on Rumble or through the app, you should sign up for Rumble and follow us. And if you're watching on YouTube, you should definitely subscribe. I think that many times people watch this channel that are subscribed to my other channel, and they don't even realize that it's two separate channels. So make sure you're subscribed to this one, because it's always good to have more subscribers. More rather than less.
Doing a great job selling yourself there, Price.
You won't find a better salesman at about like 3 a.m. on a weekday. I think this is the best sales pitch you're going to get at this time. In any case, Vex Electronica, they put here's a link. You guys should follow her. And there's also the B-roll stage that Professor Artoo does with Adam Gray. You should definitely subscribe to all of those things. And is there anything else you guys wanted to say before we head out?
Thank you for having me on last minute.
Oh, thank you for being here. We always enjoy your company. You bring a nice, unconventional. What word am I looking for?
Is that it?
To the table, yes.
Nice way to put it. Yes, bravo.
Hey, Facetino 93. I feel like Facetino 93 didn't say a word at all this whole time. This is like the first that I've seen of this person. Hi, the Devastator. How are you? But I guess it's a good time for us to head out, right?
Oh, yes. I'm starting to get the deep yawns now. I'm ready to go to bed.
Perfect.
Yes.
Hey, Adam Gray. So that's it. On that positive note, we'll head out, and we'll see you here on Thursday at 11:45 p.m. because we're always here Tuesday, Thursday, 11:45 p.m. Eastern on the Night Owl, and we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.